forgot how simple life really was. Instead of sitting around with family, there was individuals sitting around boxes with screens, and they forgot how to grow their own food. And hunting was replaced by practices which were cruel, and everything seemed to be divided by plastic made with petrochemical oil, which was extremely toxic. And these people also ran their cars on that oil, which polluted the air and the water and the soil. But the ones who benefited didn't care about the earth. They were only interested in how much the oil was worth. When they started running out, they started fighting for control to secure the world's supply. Petroleum was their goal, so they assembled their armies, and their wars destroyed life. They hid the truth from the people, kept it out of their sights. And millions of people were betrayed by these lies, convinced to kill each other and watch each other die. Entire cultures were destroyed before our very eyes. We just sat around and watched the fire falling from the sky. But all the time we knew that it could happen to us, so we were living in fear, and we were on the same bus. By invading other people, we created more enemies, but they believed that they were doing it to make themselves free. This is the world that I grew up in, so you understand my brain when it begins to spin, searching for solutions, a better way to be. And I think much clearer when I begin to breathe. So I breathe in the air. Yeah, take a deep breath. It's everywhere. Heal my spirit, heal my body, heal my soul. I know who I am, consciousness spinning through sacred air. The healers, whatever your call is, actualize and realize we come here to balance these violent times. Warriors of peace, ambassadors of love, always staying centered when push comes to shove. Third eye wide open and dancing to music, accepting the power, knowing how to use it. Coming together, we circle the globe, seeing the oneness, our chakras are glowing. Our vibrations where we want it to be, keep it high, you know how it feels to be free. All you gotta do to understand these ways is breathe real deep and enjoy each day. Work selflessly with others and we'll all survive together. Tomorrow is now and there's beautiful weather, so breathe. Breathe in the air. Yeah, take a deep breath. It's everywhere. Heal my spirit, sacred air.
There's me, there's the other me, there's another me, and then there are the more me's. We've all got a domino to play, so we've been trying to work it out. We don't know how your life turned, or what all that means, but me and the me's, we're not going back. We've already seen what we couldn't do. Any skeletons in our closets, our own private stash of bones that scream with no choice. There's no scream like the next scream, reducing the present into nothing, while eternity is now, not then. Who's divided? Who's divided into what? Into what? And how many does that make? There's love that loves, love that fears, love that possesses, love that needs proof. Where's the love that accepts, love that likes, love that cares? There's no forgetting some realities. Destiny threw at us, and fate wasn't much help with its way of loading the load when we didn't have any say, and it was up to us to carry it. Fear like glue. Pretending isn't pretending. At least one of the me's have seen it all. Each and every one of us wants the glory, but not a one of us likes the way we fall. Straying is a way of walking when staying isn't an option. Because we've been accused of some things we did and some things we didn't do, and we heard I forgive yous that lie. Me and the me's are looking for a me that will answer to me. So far, there's no me who will.
Oh, your turn. And good morning, Lake County. This is LCM Talk Show coming live from our studios in Lower Lake. And it's a good morning, beautiful sunny day out there. It's going to, believe it or not, hit the low 90s today, which for April I think is unusual for up here. Phoenix, however, is going to be 98, and that's what I'm used to at this time of year. We have two guests today. We have candidate for Assembly, Don Saylor, and we also have Jose Simon Moke, who is also who is on coming from District 1, trying to replace Jim Comstock on the Board of Supervisors. So he's coming in at the 11 o'clock hour. We have Mr. Saylor via telephone coming in at on the 10 o'clock hour. And so, sorry, we have a small delay on the video coming in on your computer screen or Roku TV or whatever you may be using to watch our show. Okay, so we're making some final adjustments here. And I said we're going to have a very interesting show. Terry and I are going to do our usual thing from 9 to 10. And then I said at 10 o'clock we're going to be calling into Mr. Saylor to find out his views. Saylor, I apologize. Slayer. Well, you know, it's the tax software, Slayer. So that's what I'm used to in my brain. And he's going to come. He's running, as I said, for Assemblyman, trying to replace Bill Dodd, who is going to be running for the Senate. And I'm going to keep talking, yes. He has a very good website, which we'll get into in a second when he comes on. Very detailed. He has a lot of plans for all different types of issues we have, from the environment to water to the economy and public works, believe it or not, trying to figure out how to do improvements in our roads and infrastructure. So we have a lot of questions for him. I know we're not going to be able to get to all the questions that we would like to ask, because we only have an hour of his time, but hopefully maybe
we'll have him back again.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have him come back again. We can finish up some of the questions, but it should be a very interesting interview. I've prepared about 15 questions on my own. Hopefully we can get to most of them, and then I know Terry has a few that she wants to discuss regarding agricultural concerns. And the guy has an impressive.
Well, he was the mayor of Davis,
right?
And he's still a county supervisor in Yolo County, and of course that's a huge big ag area.
Right. So again, it should be a very interesting interview. And then we have Moke coming in at 11 o'clock. He is in charge of the Twin Pines Casino Rancheria, and he's well known for his activity during the Valley Fire and allowing everyone to utilize his facilities down there. And he was voted, I guess, Man of the Year recently.
Yes.
Which he well deserved.
Yeah, he really stepped up during the Valley Fire. We have to appreciate that.
And one time I met him, I was down in that area and started going to the Twin Pines Casino to find out if we can get a hold of anybody on the current status and maybe interview some people. And this guy's a big, burly gentleman. And he came up to me and said, "Can I help you?" He said, "Yeah, I would like to do something with the casino." I said, "Sorry, the whole place is closed. It's only available to medical."
I think you wanted just to use the bathroom, right?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Yeah, and he looked at me. "Sorry, I can't do that." And I'm like, "Well, I'm with Lake County Magazine. We're doing some reporting down in this area. I really use the restroom. I'm old." And he said, "Well, I'm sorry, I can't help you." But he was extremely polite, very professional, and you could see he had a lot going on at that time. So I was just a little mosquito or bug in the big scheme of things.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much happening at that time.
But,
and your little personal needs to pee
well,
probably was not on his radar at the time.
No, but when he hits my age and has the same problem, he may alter his opinion. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so that was it. So we have two very good guests, and I believe we have guests lined up.
We have guests lined up through May right now. So we're going to have a lot of the candidates that are running for all the different supervisor positions. We're also going to be trying to organize some forums. We do this every year, so we're looking for dates right now for the 3 different districts, and we'll try to hold them in the district, but we'll also broadcast them live so people can then maybe participate through Facebook or something like that if they have questions for the candidates. It's a very exciting race this time. The only one that's very disappointing to me is the Rob Brown supervisor seat, because there's only one person, 2 people that are running against him, and only one that I feel has a chance to get anywhere with him. So I hope that I know he's made a big name for himself with the Valley Fire and blah, 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 but it doesn't change the fact that he's a very inconsiderate, rude person to the citizens, and he doesn't really care about the little people. He cares about the big people and the big wineries and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, and interesting that Mr. Farrington is removing himself or not running again.
he's not running again.
Yeah, I
yes.
think he's maybe concentrating on his law practice right now.
Yeah, I think he needs to. He's had some personal issues, and I think that in order to get his own personal life on track, this is the best thing for him.
Yes, totally agree.
Yeah.
So
You can only go so far with that job.
it'd be nice to
He's
get
been there
some.
forever.
You know, we had Mr. Steele elected last time, and now we have 3 new districts running for election, and hopefully we'll get some new blood in there and get some fresh views on some of our concerns here in Lake County, and go from there. So the good news about all these interviews are people coming in our show, you only have to deal with us for 1 or 2 hours during each show in our rambling conversation we usually have. We'll actually may have some intelligent conversations with some of the candidates going on. So anything else going?
Oh, just I'm getting overloaded with cats right now.
Yeah, we
They're getting stacked up, literally.
and unfortunately animal control is stacked up as well, so we're having a little storage problems, for better choice of words.
Yeah, we need more space. If anybody'd like to foster any of our kitties, please let us know. Got some wonderful, wonderful babies here that just need to have personalized attention and love, and we're trying to help out relocating some ferals. We've got places for them to go, but sometimes they just need a couple of days somewhere safe that they can sit, and we're getting filled up over here. So.
And remember, folks, I talked about this last week, if you're listening in, is that if you do foster a kitty cat from us, you will have a tax deduction. So any food, supplies, transportation, vet bills, anything that comes up will be tax deductible on your personal tax return, as long as you itemize. So there is a benefit besides just caring for these animals and making sure that they're being properly taken care of and getting some love. You actually get a tax deduction. So that might be some motivation for some of you to go out there and help us out here. So
Sounds good.
yeah, it is. And let me put my 2 cents in here. Today is April 6th. The 15th is on a Friday. So you have to April 15th at midnight to mail in your personal tax return extension.
And if you're not ready, just call Pete. He can do the extension for you. There's no charge. We just want to make sure people don't get in trouble with the IRS.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem with the IRS is people don't communicate with them.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it all goes to hell. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In the handbasket.
Right. And most of you probably aren't able to e-file, meaning send the extension in electronically, though there's some software out
We
there
can help you do that as well.
that you can use to do it, or you can go to the IRS website and follow instructions on how to do that. But I hate to tell you, folks, it's more simple if you just go to your local tax professional and have her go ahead and file it electronically and go from there. But April 15th is the deadline.
It is a deadline. You can't, you miss the deadline, you're going to have problems.
Right,
So
and-
there's no problem with doing extensions. They don't cost anything, and there should be no excuse. Even if you can't come in the office, just call us at the office number 701-6416 and let Peter know, and he'll take care of you.
Right, and remember, just by filing an extension, folks, doesn't mean you shouldn't pay your taxes, because anything after April 15th, if you owe money, you are going to get a late payment penalty, plus interest accruing, and the actual tax liability, and it
Right.
adds up real quick.
Right.
So, on that note, we can move on. That was not a commercial; it's just a
No,
information.
we're really seriously concerned about our clients and our people here, because every year we get people in who said, I haven't filed in 7 years. How am I supposed to do this?
Well, it's funny. I got a call 2 days ago.
It's like, really?
Said, I haven't filed since 2010. Can you help me? After that, of course. 5 years behind.
2010.
Well, some people just think, got a W-2, I paid my taxes in, why file? So, and let's see what else. For those clients that might be listening, I've already filed all your extensions. Even though you may get it done by April 15th, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So that's all
Exactly.
done.
That's the way to do it. So that way you're covered. Because there's nothing worse than getting those letters from the IRS. And let me tell you something, folks. The IRS will never call you
Oh, yes.
and will never tell you that you owe them money over the telephone, okay? If they're going to give you a problem, it's going to be through the mail. So if you get phone calls from anybody saying they're with the IRS, tell them, thank you, sir. Unless you've had previous communications with them before, just hang up or get their callback number, star 69, and give it to the sheriff.
And that goes for emails also. IRS will never, ever email you for any reason whatsoever.
Always paper. They always
Yeah.
do everything on paper.
Now, if they come knocking on your door, that might be a little different situation. Just ask for their badge number and their ID just to make sure. But
And they better be from CID if they're knocking on your door.
see, they have an opinion too. That's one of our meows.
Cat piped up, but
Yes.
they may not have.
Yeah, you will get a knock on the door from the IRS if you owe a lot of money in taxes.
Yeah, you have to really owe a lot
Or
before
you've
it
done
comes to
something
that.
really bad in CID, which is Criminal Investigation Division. Show up on your door. At that point, you just hire yourself an attorney real fast.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
okay, enough of IRS stuff.
Okay.
Next Wednesday, I'm going to go through the whole thing, just to remind everybody, because you only have 2 days left at that
Good.
time. So,
Well, I did want to give a kitty update.
yep, go ahead.
Okay, so for those of you that are following the adventures of Animal System Rescue Inc., our new nonprofit, we've had some new adventures. We're still relocating the cats off the Morgan Valley Ranch, and we've got a problem with one today because they can't, for some reason, animal control is closed, so we couldn't get her in to get her fixed. So she's going to have to harbor here till we try to get her in tomorrow. Anyway, we started our feral colony with Grumpy, who lived in our bathroom for 4 months and decided she still wanted to be feral. And then one from the ranch named Toby, who took off as soon as we released him because I didn't give him enough time to bond, but he has been coming back to eat at night. We have cameras around our house, so we were able to watch them all interact, and Grumpy and Toby are still hanging around the house. They don't let us see them or anything. But we've been joined by 2 other cats. One, we call him Boots. He's like our handsome Jack here. He's a gray tabby with white feet. And the other one we call Mr. Manx because he's a Manx, but he's white with tabby patches. He's really cute. And he started being friendly to me yesterday. He has gotten in the habit of sitting on the cushions on our outdoor deck, and it's a covered deck, no walls but a roof. And so he goes up there and he sleeps up on the chair. So last night I went outside and very quietly talked to him, and he let me sit next to him, and he actually let me pet him. Of course, as soon as I tried to get a little closer, he actually just relocated to another cushion. He didn't run away. So that was kind of encouraging. Now we got to find out if he actually belongs to someone because it looks like he may not be fixed, and if he is fixed, that's great. But if he's not, we're going to have to get him fixed. But we're almost done up at the ranch. They had 10 cats, and we have given 5 away. We have 2 more, one that we're taking today, and another one they're going to be catching that are spoken for. Then the lady who had the cat has 2 more that are spoken for. So basically, all the cats, and there was 2 that lived there before that. So all the cats now are being relocated, and I want to thank those people who have provided donations for the relocation services to help us offset the expenses. And I want to thank Lake County Animal Control and Forgotten Felines for taking such good care. 1 pair has gone to Redwood Valley. The second pair is going down to Santa Rosa. And they're going to be barn cats. They're going to live on ranches and just have great lives. And then we have the one that we kept. And then the other 2 are going to another ranch here in Lake County. So we're just really thrilled that it worked out good and that all the kitties are going to have good homes. And that's kind of what we're trying to do with Animal Assistant Rescue, is to be able to relocate these guys to places where they're going to be in better environments. In this case, the workers that are on this ranch, the woman's workers had dogs, and they would just let the dogs chase and kill the cats. So we literally had to get them out of there before they were killed completely, or all killed off. So that's something that, we're really proud that we were able to pull that off. And now we have another mission up on Loch Lomond with a woman who's being threatened by a neighbor that they're going to poison her cats. She lost her home basically to mold after the Valley Fire, during the Valley Fire. I'm not sure exactly how that worked out, but she is basically homeless, but she's built a enclosure for the cats, and from my understanding, they don't get out. They've all been fixed. There's a lot of cats up there, though. But we got donations last night from people willing to purchase a trail camera for us to put that up on her land and be able to spot the person who may be trying to poison those cats. So we're very excited about that, and we're very grateful to those people that stepped up to make a donation. I think that was amazing. Within 2 hours, we had enough money to get the camera and do what we need to do, you
Right.
know. It was just really amazing. And then other people have stepped up because she needs help with getting the enclosure so that it's people-proof, so that it can be secure. So one of our other cat ladies has volunteered to do that. We could still use a couple of guys. I don't know if anybody out there would like to help us, but it'd be really nice if we could get some muscle help to get this enclosure set up so that it really is secure, and this woman, whoever she is, that wants to poison the cats will not be able to do that. She's already poisoned the dog that this lady had.
Really?
Yeah, so she's really, really bad, and because there's no physical evidence, they can't do anything about it, so that's the point of getting the camera set up.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's really horrible. So that's the battle we face every day working in animal rescue, is trying to get these people to understand that just because he's an animal doesn't mean you can kill it, doesn't mean you can throw it away, doesn't mean you can abuse it. We want to be able to have people in Lake County be aware that these animals have souls, and they have feelings, and they are creatures of this world, and we need to take care of them. We're the caretakers of the earth. We're not the murderers, and we got to stop killing. So, and of course, our goal with the shelter that we'll be building will be to have a no-kill shelter, so we can take the overflow from animal control and other shelters in the area.
So if anyone's out there with some land and wants to donate it.
That would be nice. Yeah, or would like to donate to us, we do have a PayPal account, and the PayPal account is under SLC Valley Fire Cat Trappers. And we take all donations. We are a nonprofit. Our 501c3 is being applied for, so we really do need some financial support. We need community support. And our goal, once we get done working in the areas we're working, is we're going to try and help out in Clear Lake once they get something organized. But right now, I can't take a cat that's in Clear Lake down to animal control because they won't take them to get them fixed. They won't allow us to do that. But, so we have to have a spay-neuter program in place by the city in order for us to help out. So we're kind of stuck with Clear Lake. We can't really do anything within that city limits. And it is horrible because they've let this thing get so far out of control, it's just ridiculous. So, but, we just keep trucking on little by little. One cat at a time is how I look at it.
Yeah. Not to change the subject, but who's the mayor of Clear Lake now? Purdock? Because he was the vice mayor.
No, he's the mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the mayor. He was elected the mayor in January.
Oh, that's right. So,
Yeah. So he's still
Lucelo
the mayor.
just left.
Yeah,
Okay.
she just left, but Joey Lewis, so Denise Luxlow left the city council. Joey Lewis, I believe, is taking her place. And he is taking her place because he came in second in the election when the year they were elected.
Correct.
And that's why he was chosen as the replacement. So that actually could be good for the city because he is really, he's really concerned about the cannabis issue, and he will work to make it work for everybody.
Yeah. And if you don't know, Ms. Lucelo resigned because she moved out of the city area.
Yeah, she's out of the city
Right.
limits now.
So, which kind of, I don't know, if you have committed yourself to...
Yeah, I mean, she could have at least lasted as long as her term.
Exactly, that's
Obviously,
my
it's
point.
not that important to her, so it's okay.
No, I guess she had better things to do, but I find it a little bit as an insult to the electorate who put her into office that she would just say, oh well, I'm going to resign halfway through my term because I need to go on with my personal life and move out of the city limits.
Right.
So I guess that's not necessarily criticism, it's just, why? That's all.
Right.
Why couldn't she wait?
Right.
Because she still owns the property.
Well, it's not our job
in Clear Lake.
to make a
No,
judgment.
I'm not
and I
judging.
think Joey moved into her house.
What?
Yes, that's the last thing I heard.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's interesting, huh?
That actually is very interesting.
Yeah, so
But he was already living up here. Maybe he got a better deal. Even though he worked out of Sacramento, he lived up here because of his boss lived up here. So anyway, we'll see what happens.
It's as the world turns in Clear Lake.
Yep, yep. And see, let me bore you guys. I'm sorry, folks. That's a horrible English. Let me bore you listeners a little bit more. On Sunday, I had my first baseball practice game.
We all have our little hobbies around here.
And drove down to Santa Rosa and at a place to play. If you're familiar with that, it's just off Highway 12. And it was only a practice game, so it was very unusual rules we had. But pitched the equivalent of 3 innings. I felt really good. My rotator cuff didn't seem to bother me. And I thought, hey, this is good, running the base. I feel really good. And then woke up Monday morning. My legs were sore. My arm was sore. Mentally, I was sore. And I was hobbling around the house. What did you call it last night? My zombie walk.
Yeah, the zombie walk.
Yes. But this morning, I feel good.
Oh, yeah.
My legs are back.
Oh,
my arm's back. So
you keep working out, too, which is good.
Yeah. But, it usually takes me a couple days to recover. But the good news, folks, is April 10th, Sunday.
I'm going to do that. It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Never mind.
I'm sorry, April 10th, Sunday.
Yes, is opening day for us. If you haven't heard, we've been moved up to the 65 and over division, which is to me very insulting, but that's okay. And so our competition is going to be a lower level than what we were facing in the our 55 and over division. And you know what happened? The Dragons, we know the Dragons, right? Dragons are managed and I will say owned by a gentleman who owns Green Ridge Winery over in Philo. And he pays all the fees for the whole team, all new equipment.
Must be nice to have rich guys on.
So what happens is when the really good ball players move it up in the age brackets, he gets the best selection. So they are always going to be the number 1 team. I play for the Silver Sox, which is the number 2 team in our division, though they won the whole thing last year. So I'm going to play part-time with them. But we're in the 65 and over. Our competition is going to be definitely a lot less. I personally believe if we don't win the division this year, I'm going to be very upset. Maybe second place. But all 4 teams all make the playoffs, though. So no matter what, we'll be in the playoffs. Could be in last place and make the playoffs. Anyway, so we got a good team. We got 5 or 6 new players. And we'll see how it goes. But the good news is the people that came back are really good ball players. And so we should have a very solid defense. Our pitching we face is not going to be quite as good, so we should have a much better run production on a team. And of course, yours truly is going to try to stay healthy this year. Which, let's roll the dice on that one.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. When I was in Phoenix, my team used to have a over-under. And that was for how many times I would fall while pitching because I had a bad knee. And even the opposition who knew me quite well would go with the over-under. And usually, the over-under was about 3 to 4. Sometimes got a little bit higher if it was windy out. And so this time it's the over-unders, how many times I'm going to have a seizure on the pitching mound.
I don't like that.
Well,
that's kind of disrespectful.
Oh no, I'm just kidding. They haven't said that, but
I
may raise it, just for
up.
fun. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, Santa Rosa is still somewhat cool in the morning games with the cloud or the fog bank in there. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to keep warm. Though that's not going to happen today. Santa Rosa is supposed to be like us in the low 90s.
We're going to be temperatures in the 90s. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yep. So,
by the way, if you have any questions for our guests, you can always call in or hit us up on Facebook. The number to call in is 701-6029, and the Facebook page is Lake County Magazine Talk Show. So please feel free to ask questions of both of our guests that we're having today. You want to go over the guests again, just so people are aware of what we're doing?
well, I don't want to screw it up this time.
Okay,
You go ahead.
Don Saylor is running for Assembly for the state. He's running for Bill Dodd's
So he
seat.
is our district.
And so he is in our district. And he's been the mayor of Davis, and he's currently a county supervisor in Yolo County.
Right.
And so
And he started out as a part of the school board.
Right.
Yes.
He was on the school board for a while, and he's done a lot of stuff for Davis. I mean, seems to be under pretty good control over there.
That's where one of the college.
Except for UC when they pepper spray the protesters.
Yeah, well,
That's
that
going to
wasn't
be one of the
that
questions
wasn't
I
his
ask
fault.
him about too. Yeah, but you know what? You got to keep your impressions of a city to a certain level.
Agreed.
And when there's bad behavior like that particular incident where the cop was spraying the protesters with the pepper spray went completely viral and global. And I saw posts saying it was happening in South America, that it happened in Europe, that it didn't happen here. And guess what, folks? It happened
I didn't
here.
realize that was in Davis.
Yeah, I didn't either until I saw the video on the news the other night. And I said, oh my gosh, that actually happened in Davis.
That's mainly a college town, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like Tempe.
Yeah.
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 All right.
So,
So what else do we do this week? Anything
what else do we do?
besides sleeping?
What else do we do this weekend? You went to baseball, and I
Oh, that's right. You were down here with the ladies.
was working with the girls. We got a great team of girls that have come on board, and we are very interested in working with them. They're very, what's the word? They are very aggressive in the sense that they really want to work and they want to make things happen. So Saturday we spent the day here working, cleaning, organizing, and I guess they're going to come up every weekend, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and we do have some new shows planned. We have permission to run Democracy Now! And we can do that in the morning once the live
We're
show
going to be
finishes.
increasing our programming. We're also hopefully getting a new location we're working on, and God willing that everything goes okay with that. But we've been in negotiations with these people since before the fires, actually.
Yes.
You think about it. And so we are finally to the point where we got a verbal agreement, and the paperwork is going into them to be signed over the weekend, and hopefully we'll be able to get everything settled, and we'll have a new studio that we'll be operating out of. So we will be in transition, providing this happens, during the month of May, and I'm going to apologize in advance for any issues we have with broadcasting and that kind of thing. So, yes, I see. It's very interesting, isn't it?
Okay, and just got an email from our realtor.
Uh-huh.
Contract has been accepted.
Oh, it has.
Escrow is being opened up.
Woohoo!
Now, but we haven't got
Baby,
the final
baby.
contract for us to countersign, so most
No,
likely.
we haven't signed the paperwork, but as long as they're opening escrow, that means we're on. I'm so happy.
Now we got to figure out how to get the hell out of that money.
Well, that'll come. God will provide.
So if the deal comes through, it'll be kind of exciting. I still got to look at the financial aspect of it, but it will give us a lot more flexibility, and we'll go from there. So that was good news. That was the realtor who just gave me a quickie email. So let's see what else is going on. Just slaving away on tax returns, and I've noticed that this year, for whatever reason, I just can't work as many hours. This doesn't work. Usually on tax season, I'm usually at the office by 8-ish, then I don't come home till 7 or 8 in the evening. But this year, I'm just like, okay, we get in about 10:30, we leave at 5. But due to technology, I can work from home and connect into my computer here, so I can still get basic stuff done. So,
Oh, I'm so glad.
yeah, well, someone's got to do it.
Oh, I have to wish our son Kareem Manning, a very happy birthday, Earth Day. He is my complete angel. I'm very happy to have him as a son, and I want to wish him blessings on his Earth Day today. He's 31 years old.
Is he 31? Oh, my God. Really?
He is.
Oh, God.
I know.
And he came into my life when he was basically just 11 years old then.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that's right.
That's right. And
That's right, because Jamil was 5 and Jossie
Yep.
was 15.
Right, exactly. So,
Yeah.
and
I have 5-year gaps between each of my kids.
yes, Kareem is a gentle soul. He is just one of those who never, at least I've never seen him lose his temper. He's just Okay, well, let's examine the situation and see what we got to do. I mean, just very gentle. And it's nice to see a young man turn into a
He's
really,
turned into a great kid.
Yes.
He really has. Just
and
so
he's really
a conscious person.
Right.
You know, that's one thing I'm very proud of. I have 3 kids. All 3 of them are completely
different.
different.
Yes. Well, let's leave it like that.
Yep.
But he's getting into his music. His
Yeah, he gave up his job to go full time as,
Yeah, but he's
as
getting-
a rapper.
but he's getting a lot of work.
Hip hop, and he's working steady. He's making more money now as a musician than he was making working for a big corporation
Right.
selling cartridges
and
for printers.
right, and his work. I mean,
commercial
his
stuff.
music is all positive. Not a lot of cussing and
No,
and
he's
sexual.
very conscious. Very conscious.
Yes, so
We'll play some of his music. As a matter of fact, I should dig out a CD for him. I just had. Oh, I have it on the iPod.
Okay.
What we'll do is when we take the next break, I'll pull one of those songs up and let you guys have a taste of Mr. Kareem.
Does he have a stage name?
No, I think it's Kareem, and then his other guy is called Mr. Veen or something.
Well, most of these rappers and stuff like that usually have some form of acronym.
Right?
So we have to find one. Some have
For
one.
Kareem?
Yeah, we got to come up with something
Okay.
that's
We can do
positive,
that.
and so he can start marketing his names that Kareem, even though it's a great name. but
Kareem's a great name. He
there's
doesn't need.
no excitement
I'm sure he's got something going on
Yeah, we'll
with
have
his
to-
name,
we
but
have
you
to.
know what? We're a little bit too far away to be influencing him at this point in the game.
I don't know.
He
He needs
lives in
our
Florida.
influence.
We never get to talk to him hardly.
Yeah,
Typical son.
yeah. I'm the same way with my mom.
Hey, did you know that Scotland generated 57% of their electricity from renewable resources last year? Why can't we do that?
Where?
Scotland.
They never get any sun over there, though.
I know.
Must
So
be
what
wind,
the heck?
but it
Must
could be wind power because
yeah.
they get nothing but
But
winds.
it just says renewable resource. It could be multiple.
Of course.
Uh-huh.
Yep. That's interesting.
Okay, 64% came from wind turbines and 27 from hydro generators.
Well, it's
They don't need
interesting.
no stinking sun to make energy.
One of Mr. Saylor's missions or objectives, if he gets elected, is dealing with alternative power. If I remember correctly, we'll get into this when we talk to him. He wants to, by 2030, have everyone being supplied with 50% of renewable energy. And obviously a reduction in fossil fuels, especially for vehicles.
Well, good for him.
You know, he has a lot of ideas, a lot of things he wants to do, but one thing he has not been talking about, how he's going to pay for it.
That's what you're going to ask him.
Because
isn't it?
he literally has billions of dollars he wants to use in his projects, and I just don't get where the money's going to be coming from. So that's one of the questions. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to be. It's going to be a very positive interview with a lot of good questions, and hopefully he'll have the right answers.
So let's go over the district supervisor
You-
positions and who's running for them.
Yes.
We have in District 1, Boris Brumfield, who actually was a supervisor back in the quite a few years ago. She considers herself a community volunteer. I know that she's also a minister. Monica Rosenthal, who describes herself as a business owner slash farmer, which translates to she owns a winery, I believe. And Jim Ryan, who's a public safety supervisor. I guess, does that mean he's a cop? And then,
No.
isn't that public safety?
Well, so it could be a public.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
it could be.
That's okay.
Could be.
And then, of course, our guest today, which is Jose Moke Simon III. He is the tribal chairman and businessman. And then we also have for District 4, which is the other Lakeport election, Ted Madrones, retired business manager. Some people may know him from the Chamber of Commerce. Phil Murphy, he's a walnut grower, but he's also a great activist. He's been working with the county government as a citizen for as long as he's lived in Lake County, which has been a long time. Ron Rose, I talked to him yesterday. He had kidney surgery, and he's just recovering from that, but he's a retired engineering contractor. By the way, Phil's going to be on our show on April 20th, too, at 10 a.m. Martin Scheel, who is a Lakeport City Council member and former mayor of Lakeport. Tina Scott, who will be on our show on April 27th at 10 a.m. She's a school board member and a mother and housewife type person, I guess. And those are the District 4 candidates. District 5, we have our inimitable Rob Brown. Also, John Wesley Stoddard, who describes himself as a retired contractor and developer. And then, of course, Philip Reimers. He's from Cobb, and he's a retired general contractor. John Wesley lives in the Riviera, and, of course, Rob Brown lives in Kelseyville. Also running from Lake County for the U.S. Representative in Congress against Mike Thompson is Nils Paulson, and he describes himself as a community builder and educator, and he's out of Middletown. So those are the candidates that are running for the district seats, and the one candidate that's running for a Lake County base from Lake County for the Mike Thompson seat. I didn't realize he was running again, Mike. I thought they just had his election. So I guess
Time flies when you're having fun, because I thought he did too.
Yeah, so.
It's kind of going to be hard to beat Thompson. He's very entrenched with the wine industry.
Well, I think it's a tough thing for Nils to be able to pull off.
With no experience,
you know. And he needs to have it he needs to have a lot more experience. He needs to start here in Lake County and build his way up. I know he considered running for supervisor at the last time that Rob Brown ran, and then I never heard anything about it after that. So I don't know. I don't think it's that smart of a move to go to the top.
And he's young enough to be able to start at a
He
city
has
level
plenty
and
of
a
time.
county.
Why rush it?
Right.
You got to season yourself with experience. It's not like you can really just jump into a job like that without anybody.
And let's just everyone remember that this is not state senator. This is U.S.
Congress,
or U.S. Senate
representative.
And that's a big step from nothing to everything. So, and he is an educator. He's a teacher, and he's educated. But politics and education are two different things.
Right.
You need to be schooled in politics. How's that for a comment? And a little breaking news here, folks. Donald L. Blankenship, a coal executive, has been sentenced to a year in jail, 6 years after disaster killed 29 miners.
The mining.
Yes.
Good. See? Eventually, we're going to get you guys.
So these people the court system is finally getting its act together and dealing with some of these major big shots, and so they can no longer hide behind their friendship and relationships. And he was one of the wealthiest and most influential man in Appalachia. So I'm not sure what. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Sad.
It is very sad, but it's nice to see someone finally being prosecuted for wrongdoings, as the major bankers have gotten away literally with embezzlement and fraud and.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Using the term lightly, murder, even though not physical murder.
It is a shame.
So, but I think that's changing. I really do. I think the public has been so outraged that the court systems are kind of changing their tune. Speaking of that, we had a primary yesterday in Wisconsin, and Bernie Sanders absolutely overwhelmed my best friend Hillary, and just destroyed her in Wisconsin. I mean, unfortunately, still way behind in delegate count, but with the eastern states coming up, which is his powerhouse, is very feasible if he could win New York and Pennsylvania.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens in New York, because Hillary has connections there too.
Yeah, and if you listen to the news, especially things like MSNBC or CNN, all the surveys that are coming up saying, well, if Trump wins, Clinton's going to kick his butt. Well, if Cruz wins, Clinton's going to kick his butt. They're not talking about Sanders. It doesn't say if Sanders wins the election, he's going to kick Trump's butt or anyone else. So the media is assuming that Clinton is going to win the nomination.
Yeah.
Because of her connections and her background and all that good stuff. But a lot of people are now changing sides, and they did a little survey on the exit polls yesterday, and those who voted for Bernie, 81% said it's because of his honesty and his ethics.
Well, that's it. Don't we want an ethical president?
I would hope so.
Do we want a president that's going to bully people? Do we want a president that's going to lie to people? What exactly do we want in a president?
Well, do we
I
want...
think an ethical president is a good choice.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want another family-based political system? You know, we had Bush's. Jeb also tried to run again, got destroyed. Now we had Bill. Now we want Hillary. I mean, we need fresh blood. We have someone with some new approaches. We need someone that's not tied to the major corporations. And Hillary is very factual that she takes all of her major campaign money are coming from the Wall Street and the big corporations. Bernie's still getting a buck here and a buck here. So it'd be an interesting situation, especially with the big state primaries on the East Coast coming up. And then, of course, we have California in June.
That's probably him, DJ Spaceship.
Oh, that would make sense,
That would
too.
make sense.
Yes.
He's convinced he's part alien.
Well, he thinks everyone's part alien.
Right.
And we have different races of alien, and that's what
So I would say that's
composes
most likely
the world
his moniker.
population
Let's see if
base.
it's on this one. Yep.
Hip-hop.
Music by DJ Spaceship.
Spaced. Okay, I take that back, folks. He does have his own
I told you
acronym.
he had one. He's no fool.
DJ Spaceship. Well, just as good as some of these other
Hey, he's
idiotic.
working. He's working.
Yes, he is.
He's working.
And I
like that, DJ Spaceship. Can I take a ride, too? On the spaceship.
On his lyrics. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, anyway, on that note, as I said, the primaries coming up in California, and again, depending upon who you listen to at one station, they say Democrats here are a little bit more liberal than other states, and that could be good for Mr. Bernie. So.
Well, that's it, and that's why I say New York is really going to be the one that makes me.
But Hillary is a
curious.
transplant. She only moved to New
I
York.
know. That's why I don't
run-
think there's going to be a lot of loyalty there from people.
And most of the Democrats live in New York City. The rest of New York State is mostly Republican or more conservative. But that's where the population base is, New York City. So if Bernie can win that, he's going to win the state. So we'll see what happens over the next few
It's going
weeks.
to be an exciting thing, and you know what the sad thing is, depending on how it goes, we could either be doing really well, or we could be really screwed.
Look at our choices: Clinton, Trump, or Cruz. How about none of the above? Matter of fact, in this exit poll yesterday, a lot of them said none of the above, and I think that was like 25%. People coming out of the exit from the exit polls said, "No, I'm not going to vote for anybody except maybe a third-party candidate, depending upon who that person may be." So, interesting polls coming out. A lot of people are just fed up with the system. They are fed up with these self-serving
The corporate
politicians.
shills.
Well, just look at Cruz. All
As
he
we
cares
call
about is pushing his religious.
Oh my gosh!
form.
See, he's another frightening one, and he won Wisconsin yesterday. So.
Yeah, but again, Wisconsin is primary, no pun intended, a Republican-based government. Yes, that was a pun. And it's very conservative, but they all work together, from the governor all the way down to the local city and county Republicans, where they all agree on backing one candidate only. And that's one of the reasons why Cruz won, is that they all don't like Trump, and as part of the Republican agenda is to make sure Trump doesn't win.
Right.
So Wisconsin was important in the number of delegates being won, but it's not necessarily going to change the direction of the overall election for the Republicans. So, and Trump's going back to his good old states of back east, especially New York. So, the Cruz campaign better not get overly optimistic and not continue what it's trying to do, because Trump could kick his butt back east. So.
By the way, I just want to let you know our opening song was Breathe by Human. And then we heard from the late, great, wonderful man, John Trudell. One of the honors of my life was getting to interview him several times. And the name of the song was The More Me's. And I just love that one. That was from his last album. As far as I know, he did not put out any other product after that.
We're going to take a break
God
now
bless him.
so we can get hold of...
Yeah, I'm going to play some Kareem. And we got to get Mr. Saylor on the line
Right.
as well, okay? So this
DJ
is...
Spaceship, huh?
Yeah, DJ Spaceship, also known as Kareem, with his singing partner, Mr. Veem.
Mr. what?
Veem.
Theme?
V-E-E-M.
Okay. We'll be back in a second, folks. Well,
We'll be back after the top of the hour.
Together we stand tall.
You're
no
with
matter what.
Terry
and Pete the Tax Guy.
and you're on Lake County Magazine Talk Show.
Thank you,
Thanks for
folks.
joining
We'll be
us.
back.
We'll be back.
Band with one another, rise up. Come together and stand tall, no matter what. Forever we band with one another, rise up. Come together and stand tall, no matter what. Forever we band with one another.
Under the same cause to change flaws into merit and cherish the time together we have upon this planet. Too many times have we taken simple things for granted. Division is landed and it's getting heavy-handed. Unity is you and I at an art so we can try to proceed to the sky to harvest the fruit containing knowledge of truth. Savor the flavor from the fields that we've lived in. The place incarnational memories were created in. Some know it was earth, others the sacred mother we once sworn to protect and share with one another. We were born with the right to bear arms, so hug freely and embrace the God within yourself to stop internal bleeding. There's more than enough energy to go around. Help another at the cost of your profits going down. To rise up, forever we stand tall. Band with one another together to help each other, sister and brother. Rise up, come together and stand tall. No matter what, forever we band with one another. Rise up, come together and stand tall. No matter what, forever we band with one another. Rise up, come together and stand tall. No matter what, forever we band with one another. Rise up, cause you know that we be one kin, finding harmony through the sacred drum skin.
Step, spit, right, and scratch. It's quite the path, this hip-hop.
You looking for a mix master?
Life is that. With such a powerful mode of expression, we can show the youth one of the oldest tools. How to follow the physics of living the golden rule.
Jeshua's quote,
You reap what you sow.
what's true?
See, we manifest more of the emotions that we focus through.
So you won't get burned if you hold your cool.
Thoughts are things, homie. So what's the justification for being mindless?
Let's try.
Tribal urban yoga on the linoleum, overcoming the violence, reverent like a holy one, holding a humble flyness. Whenever you break dance, take a chance on love. Why don't we just shake hands, make plans to rise above? No more bickering and battling through a beautiful art form. Status don't matter when the truth is what's hardcore. Integrity or legacy, unshakable conviction. The future generation gonna make a new description. This is a culture that expresses through the rhythm, overstanding oppression through messages of a blessed vision. See, when we're squabbling, we're really groveling. We owe ourselves something. Disrespect spread like an infection through the one kin. If everybody's family, then we're acting like we're drunken. When the only beating that's needed is on the drum skin.
Beat gracefully.
Upon the drum skin, we be one kin, finding harmony through the sacred drum skin. Come together and stand tall, no matter what, forever we band with one another. Rise up. Come together and stand tall, no matter what, forever we band with one another. Rise up. Come together and stand tall, no matter what, forever we band with one another. Rise up. Come together and stand tall, no matter what, forever we band with one another.
Yo, yeah, check it out. Some knowledge. And here we go. Now why we're here isn't simply just what we should ask. What we should ask is why someone else is carving our path. Why people paid to cross the seas and shoot in Iraq. If the arm is to protect them, it's with these attacks. First to drop a couple bombs and decide to feel bad. See, what's the answer to the question that's frequently asked? Or can you trust the ask who are blatantly masked? How many think they'll last when they're put to the task? Or can we pass the test if we're ditching the class? We'll simply fail to set sail for forgetting the mask. All these fakes who seem to make it are just making me laugh. Holding on to what they can as they move with the mass, not knowing what to do to make the prices things last. They're only there to take the last for the chance to make cash. Money's external power that can determine your class, but one thing it can't determine is how long you will last. Will you pay off the planet to avoid major disaster? Like how many save their souls by paying the local pastor, bowing upon their knees to praise an ancient master. Some don't even like life, but they wanna choose what's after. Being a better person, see they say would save your soul, but that's just the half of it, and I wanna know the whole. People never take the time cause they learn to pay the toll. Not so many choose to live under the bridge like trolls, as I choose the underground route like midnight moles. Instead of walking the surface and moving with the flow, I simply swim upstream cause that's the way to go, and demonstrate my shine of soul as I ray my flow. We keep on rocking this hip hop for all the elements. Feeling and healing it with powers of benevolence. Expressing joy and gratitude with love for all of it. No need to finish this cause life you see is limitless.
Oh, don't you know it? We will bring to you like that joy overflowing. These are all the lovely things. Oh, don't you know it? We will bring to you like that joy overflowing.
A hug and a kiss from one that you've missed.
Covered in bliss, let's be happiness.
There's love in the hits of the snare and the kick.
The horns on the tip of the hip jazziness.
Cold lemonade on a warm summer's day. Down at the beach, it's time to go play.
Then it's sheets fresh and clean, warm and so snuggly. Comforters hugging me, time to go dream.
Pleasantly traveling, astrally faster than light. Naturally mastering flight.
Hey man, that's tight.
Yeah, you're right. I'm healing my life and my dreams tonight.
Taken in truth, nothing is boring. I'm done with my snoring, I wake up and write.
It's cloudy outside, when I slept it was bright. It's raining, it's pouring, my brain is absorbing. Exploring the evening, I soar to new heights.
Beautiful Luna, I love you the sooner you come. Truly unique as the sun. Your beams and your rays at 12 in the AM and PM each day. Show me the ways of the one.
To pray and dedicate life with meditation. Meditation.
Meditation.
Meditation.
Show me the ways of the one with meditation.
Joy overflowing. Joy overflowing.
Please save my earth. PSME. PSME. Yo. I wouldn't talk about my dreams if I didn't know that we're in reality, different fields of consciousness. I'm waking up and every time I sleep, there's times I peak in so-called memories of a past life. But I wake up feeling surely that it's happening in the same time. Unfamiliar with remembering interdimensional thoughts can change minds. Well, one thing that you may find is we've been here many times before, reborn, or as I'd like to say, rebirthed. I wake up from my sleep, they saying, please save my earth. Or should I say this earth? The planet we share, but many don't care. Only motivated to get a piece, while others feel there's no hope, so the motto's to let it be. But the planet's in you and me, so it's time that we set it free. Forget pollution for a second, and the greenhouse gases. Let's clean the masses first to become our own spiritual masters. Disasters sometimes needed to start fresh and a clean slate, but we must learn from our mistakes or else stay trapped inside this dream state. Break the silence with glorious melodies. Harmonious tones of vocalization bring forth joyful memories. Happiness can be obtained with a conscious focus change. To some it may sound strange, and others even lame, but it's easier than choosing to feel pain, shame or fear. It's time we make that disappear with love vibration to your ears. Let's all listen and hear the beautiful music played within. Please save my earth, now you know where to begin. PSME, 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 please save my earth. PSME, 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 please save my earth. PSME, 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 please save my earth. PSME, PSME.
Alrighty. That's our son Kareem. Today's his birthday, and so we're playing a little bit of his music just to let people get a taste of Kareem and Mr. Veem. Okay, we have Mr. Saylor here. I need to figure out which audio we have. If you could give me a hello, sir.
Hello, Peter and Terry. It's good to talk to with you this morning.
It's great talking to you too. I'm not sure if we got your here.
we go.
Volume's low. Try it again.
Hello, Peter and Terry.
Hey.
There you go. Good
Good
job.
to talk to you.
Thank
Good to
you.
talk to you too, Don. Thanks so much for letting us get with you this morning. We really appreciate it. Okay,
My pleasure.
so I'm going to let Peter kick things off.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you turn me down a bit?
Yes.
I went to your website and read literally everything word to word so I could be somewhat prepared to ask you some very interesting questions.
Oh my goodness, I wish I had done that.
Well, you know, we do a lot of interviews of candidates for different positions. We actually had Bill O'Donnell on twice while he was campaigning, and then a couple times after he was elected. So I try to be somewhat prepared, so I don't look like a complete fool doing this. So, before I get on to my questions, and hopefully we'll have time to cover some of, at least a good deal of them, is that going through your background, I've seen it. Would you like to give our viewers or our listeners a little bit of a quick background on yourself?
Sure. Well, I'm a county supervisor in Yolo County. I'm in my second term on the Board of Supervisors. I started in 2011. I served as the mayor of Davis and a city council member in Davis from 2004 through 2010. I was a school board member prior to that for 8 years for 2 terms. That's my elected office service for 20 years from 1995 to the present. I guess it's 21 years now. In addition to that, I have a state career that I retired from in 2003. I worked for 5 years with the Nonpartisan Legislative Analyst Office, providing fiscal advice to the legislature on issues of health and human service programs. And then I spent about 20 years working in a variety of roles in the state administration, including the last 5 years I served as an education administrator in the California Youth Authority, working with incarcerated juveniles and helping them to earn their high school diplomas and return to their communities more ready to succeed than they had been when they joined the Youth Authority.
Right.
So it's altogether about 40 years of public service. I've got 2 kids. They're grown up. One is living in Iowa and is married. My son is married and has a new grandchild for us. And our daughter lives in Washington, D.C.
Oh, is she...
I grew up in Wyoming.
In Wyoming?
That's an interesting thing, and we can talk about a little bit during the hour together, I hope.
Yeah, and noticing in going through your resume, you've really kind of started at the bottom, worked your way up from in a political sense, not just trying to get in.
Yeah, in pretty much every sense, Peter. I was, but yeah, I started as a school board member, and I didn't even think I was going to run for public office. I knew I was committed to public service from a very early age, but I didn't really anticipate that would include elected office. I was a PTA president and working on coaching my kids and just volunteering in their schools. And then people started telling me that I was running for the school board. I insisted I wasn't, but before long, they were right and I was wrong.
Been there, done that.
I ran once in '93 and lost, and just kept volunteering. And 2 years later, in '95, voters elected me with the highest vote count. And then I guess, as I say, the rest is history. I've stood for office 7 times. This is my 8th campaign, and I've had a pretty good record of wins here.
Right.
What's that?
I was going to say your service as an elected official has been all local in the sense of being the mayor and then representing probably your district and the county. What made you want to go to the next level at the state as an assemblyman?
Well, thanks for asking that. When I came to California, the reason that my wife and I came here was I was recruited to work for the Legislative Analyst Office, and I did see the legislature in operation up close and personal from '79 to '84. And in those days, the legislature was, not Camelot. Most of the things that they did were open in the public eye. You could see how they did their business. These last couple of decades, with the shorter term limits, members of the Assembly have served an average of about 3.5 years, so they're always looking for another job. And I'm interested in being a part of the legislature as it moves into this new transition to where a member of the legislature can be focused on policy and working to get things done, because they're not having to look for another job right off the bat. And that's one of the things that really appeals to me at this point. And frankly, the issues that I work on as a county supervisor are everything from mental health services to health issues to food access. These are issues that I can make an impact on
Right,
at a statewide level.
Right, that's very, excuse me, that's very evident on your website. So, excellent. Can we just go right into some of the questions we have? And I think that will
Okay,
expand on your philosophy and what you're trying to accomplish if elected. So, and these questions are kind of not random, but I went through your website and what you're trying to accomplish by segment, you know, from the environment to economics and things of that nature. So I apologize if these questions are kind of back and forth to a certain extent. So,
Alrighty.
okay, so the first question I had, and going through, I think it was in January, you had a Board of Supervisors meeting, and you're discussing the new marijuana laws that the state is implementing and the licensing of that. And if I read this correctly, it sounded like the supervisors, as
It's okay if I'm sitting? Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm at a coffee shop and I just was talking with a person who works here. So
do you know what
would you,
one of the requirements is to be on our show?
what's the requirement?
You have to provide coffee in Danish.
Well, you know what? I will be. That's a good trade.
Free publicity for donuts, you know, what can I say? So, anyway, we like to have fun on the show. So, anyway, your board met in January regarding the new marijuana laws being passed in the state. And if I read this correctly, it looked like there was a consensus that you wanted to adopt the same state laws within your county. Is that accurate?
Well, we at that point there was some uncertainty in January about what the final rules from the state would be and whether we needed to adopt something in a hurry. There was a period of time where we thought that that we'd need to adopt something before March in order to have some kind of local discretion.
Right, the board here had the same feeling.
I was so pleased with the legislation that came through from the state level here this last year, because for the first time we had some general some consistency and some actual framework that everybody could work with across the state. And we still have some work to do on this, on the medical cannabis, the growers and the dispensaries, to make it sane. And I was a city council member back when I think it was Prop 215 was passed, and we were all kind of footloose. We didn't know how to deal with it. The law enforcement was puzzled about whether they should address state laws or federal laws. Local jurisdictions didn't know what the cards were all about, who was prescribed, and I think that this measure that Senator McGuire brought through the legislature successfully gives us a framework.
Excellent.
And here in Yolo County, where I'm a county supervisor, we have tried to deal with things when they are a problem, and when they are not a problem, then we sort of watch and see if there's a role for a public action or not. In the instance of cannabis growing, we've not seen very many problems emerge. There are some hill country grows that have been addressed by law enforcement, but most of the people who are growing for their own medicinal purpose or to participate in collectives have not presented issues for their neighbors. So we did just adopt about a month ago a county ordinance that sort of prescribes where it's appropriate for grows to take place, how distance between neighbors, that sort of thing.
Didn't you have an effective ban, though, pretty much in Yolo County?
Would you repeat your question, please?
I'm sorry. Wasn't there basically a ban, though, throughout Yolo County against any kind of growing for a long time?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
We know that grows have happened,
But I mean, as far as the county was concerned, it was
It
not
might have been there. I'm
legal.
not aware of there being any dispensaries in the county.
Okay, maybe it was the dispensaries that
Maybe
were
that's
about,
maybe
yeah.
that's the reference, and I don't know that. I think the individual cities might have had zoning issues that they approached the issue through that. I tell you, we're becoming much more sane in California in dealing with the reality of cannabis, and this I am really very interested in this November's election and the high likelihood, it appears, of decriminalizing cannabis and opening the door for an industry that is a part of our economy and can be, if it's brought out of the shadows, can be a very significant part. We can regulate it. We can tax it for public purposes. We can make it by decriminalizing cannabis use and access. I think we will eliminate a considerable specter of criminal behavior around the state, and there are just a lot of young people enter a life of crime.
Yep.
That wouldn't need to,
And it's
wouldn't have
destroying
to go
lives.
to places like the Youth Authority that I once worked in.
Absolutely. Now, can you tell me your personal viewpoint on legalization?
I believe that we should move to legalize cannabis, and then I think that by doing so, we could address the issues of dosage and quality and remove some of the black market and criminal activity that does take place around the state. I think that there's the growers have become quite sophisticated. I think that we can improve the agricultural use, the agricultural issues by legalization, reduce the pollution of our streams and protect our forests by having a more sane approach that would be made possible by legalization.
Right.
And as I mentioned, or kind of referred to before, I think that we have sent too many people down into a career of criminality.
Yep.
As a side effect of the prohibition of cannabis. So I'm actually pretty interested in moving forward with this and doing it in a sane way, in ways that we deal with alcohol and other issues.
Right. For those people,
And I think,
go ahead.
yeah.
I was going to say, for those people who are in elected office or in law enforcement, I think a great majority of them don't understand the economic value of this product. As I said, as long as it's being regulated correctly. Up here in Lake County, as I'm sure you're aware of, our economy here is not exactly growing very fast. And the bulk of our industry is the cannabis trade. And the more we can bring it into the economy as a legal way or a proper business environment, everyone's going to benefit from it.
I absolutely agree, Peter. I think that is very sensible. I think the Lake County, I've been spending quite a bit of time in the county over these past months, learning the lay of the land, how the lives of the people, the issues, and the unemployment rate is significant. The poverty rate is high. Children educational attainment needs focus. I really appreciate what your county superintendent of education has been doing in reaching out to the community to engage them in educating the whole child. And I think that the keys to the economy for Lake County are, one is to make sure that Clear Lake is well stewarded and serves as a centerpiece for destination tourism. Second is to make sure that we've got strong internet business access, and that means strengthening the broadband speeds and backbone around the lake. Third is, in addition to supporting the lake, making sure that we've got a hospitality industry that has a good feeder system, career technical education to all the different elements of that industry.
Would you support a cannabis?
We need to really look at some base employment, and the cannabis industry may be able to provide a portion of that base employment.
I was just
Future.
wondering if you would support cannabis tourism. Considering we have a beautiful lake here, we could create healing centers where people could come and, heal and be by our beautiful lake, et cetera, et cetera. We're set up here with resorts that are non-functional at this point, and they need a boost. And we feel like this might be a good angle for Lake County to take on that perspective.
I'm very interested in that. I am interested in it. I think that as the county and the cities take a look at their land use issues, there's always a balance that you're trying to strike. As any change happens, what do you move away from? So I think the balance of destination travel and the well-being of the people who live there now that's always going to be something that you take a look at.
Right.
I do think that something like the Harbin Hot Springs area and you already got a good base in Lake County. We have a good base for this kind of travel that you're talking about, and this kind of therapeutic refuge that your point is getting at. So I think it is a good thing for the cities and the county to explore, and finding ways for the state to help that is something I'm really looking forward to. I want to make sure that if whoever represents Lake County in the state legislature maintains a physical presence in the county and becomes an active part of the solution.
Let me interrupt
Yeah,
here a
so
second.
do we.
We mentioned Clear Lake and tried to fix the problem there. That was one of Bill Dodd's promises when he was running, and he continued with that promise once he was elected. And he did appropriate, with the cooperation of the rest of the elected officials there, to I think it was over $1 million to be funding the improvement of the lake. However, Governor Brown, in his wisdom, deleted that from his budget. So Bill did do what he was saying, and I understand you have the same emphasis on that. But what are you going to do when the governor keeps rejecting the funding of this?
Well, I think that I actually think that the governor has done that with a lot of things. His emphasis on the rainy day fund has allowed the rain to come through the roof. And I think we need to do some investing in our infrastructure and in our environment and in our people. And I think that we've got to work with the governor on his priorities and see about redirecting some of them. I think the high-speed rail is an example where we've allocated significant dollars that to a solution. If it were to stay in the Central Valley, that just is. The problem is just not there.
Can we say boondoggle?
Reallocating some of those funds other places is a good idea.
Yeah,
I think that everybody, with frankly, the terrors of the fires that hit last summer and fall, I think it opened the eyes of a lot of people about what we have at risk at Clear Lake.
Yep, absolutely.
And in the forests around. I think that the time for investing in that lake is right now. It's a statewide interest. It's not a local issue or a regional issue. This is a matter of statewide, frankly, even national. This lake has been around for a long, long time. Humans have lived around it. It's sustained life, and it's up to our generation to steward it to the future. There's some good people on this job in Lake County, and I'm not the expert on the lake. I'm looking forward to learning more and helping.
Good.
And finding dollars to bring into Lake County to support the environmental stewardship of the lake, to research it, to understand it. That actually is an economic development investment as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So you feel confident that you'll be able to, for better choice of words, influence your colleagues and get a consensus to go to the governor and say, hey, we need to allocate these funds?
Yes, I do, and I think yes, I am, and I think this recent designation by the president of the Berryessa Snow Mountain National Monument has allowed us to bring a lot of folks to our region who otherwise wouldn't have come, and I think that's kind of a snowball that rolls down the hill as you see the wonder of the natural
Okay, let's change the subject back to the education aspect. According to your website, by the way, whoever did the website did a very good job. You're talking about vocational schools versus someone going to university. I'm originally from Australia. My wife and I've lived in the Commonwealth area for a while, and their emphasis is, well, if you don't want to go to university, or you're not, or the university classes or degrees are not of your interest, they have an option going to vocational schools. I know in Australia, if you can't pass a specific test that's equivalent to our 10th grade here, you go to a trade school, and they get fully licensed as a masonry or a carpenter or electrician. Do you feel that that should be a direction we should take in our educational system here?
You know, I'm going to, if I could just by way of example, just for a couple of minutes, I gave a welcoming address about a week or so ago at an event called the First Robotics Competition.
Yes, I saw the thing on that.
How amazing is this? So here's the scenario. There are 70 teams from all around California, Hawaii, and other places of high school age students. And the teams range in size from a half dozen to 70 or 80. Their problem was to construct a robot that met specific kinds of requirements, and then to have their robot compete performing certain tasks on a field. And I stood between two high school age women. One was the chief of the computer programming group of her team, and the other was the mechanical engineering chief of her team. Beside us were a couple of their other teammates who were busily tinkering with the hydraulics of their robot and with the braking system and the guidance systems. There are people who are part of their team who write grants for funding, others who design their T-shirts and present as ambassadors to service clubs, and others to provide funding. There's a role for everybody in this activity. And when they were actually on the field of competition, there were 6 teams with their robots, and they were divided into 2 groups of 3, and they were randomly assigned to those groups of 3. The group of 3 were cooperating with each other in competition with the other group of 3, and later, in a different round, they would be recombined with a different group of 3. So you have this amazing array of skills deployed towards specific goals, working on a project that required teamwork and cooperation as well as competition.
Wow.
Now, that is, for my money, that kind of educational experience enriches all students, whether they're going to advance to a 4-year college traditional program, or go into an apprenticeship program and become a journeyman welder or some other mastery of some other craft or trade.
Right.
So what I'm kind of getting at is that I like the idea of open-ended educational structures that encourage authentic learning and assessment on the basis of performance. I'm excited about what's happening in education right now in California, and that's it's been a while since I've been excited about that. I think we've got this wave after wave of educational reform that has hit our classrooms and our teachers and our schools. We're now at a place with the local control funding formula where we're focusing dollars in places like the school districts in Lake County, where you've got a large portion of low-income families, some Spanish speakers, free and reduced recipients, and foster children. So we're focusing more dollars where we can make a difference with the dollars, and we're requiring that the local communities establish their own plans to address the needs of the kids, and we're increasing the funding levels. All of that's coupled with new, smarter assessment strategies, focus on teacher education, and now we've got an opportunity in November for a school construction bond so that it all can be handled within school structures that work. So I'm excited about what we're doing in education. The career technical education component, I think, is really key. And for me, me, it's not your grandfather's vocational education.
Right.
It's focused on the economy of the future and where our children are going to be going with their lives.
Let me interrupt here for a second. The head of the apprenticeship program for the state of California actually lives here in Lake County. We know him reasonably well.
Excellent.
Yeah, he approached us and other businesses in the community about bringing in apprentices to learn our trade. I have my own accounting practice, which I've had for 25 plus years. We have our video production company where we train people on how to do editing, things of that nature. And I said, great, we'd love to have that. He said, yep, well, all you got to do is pay a minimum wage. You got to do this. I'm like, well, time out here. We're a two-person operation. I can't afford to pay somebody. What type of incentives are provided? None. So my question here is, we're all into this education. We realize that the young people, I wish I still was young, need a step or help to get into something. And if they don't want to or cannot afford to go to university, don't you believe the state should provide some type of incentive to business owners to bring these type kids in to learn a trade?
Well, yes, I do, and there is a workforce investment opportunity act, WIA, that does in fact do that, where for some period of time a business can have the salary, the wages paid by the federal funding stream, and so that is a possibility, and I'd love to explore if that would work in a situation like you're describing.
We'd love that, yeah.
And the other part that I think is in what you're describing, yes, there should, and I would support the funding of additional slots for what we might think of as pre-apprenticeship. When I was in graduate school, the focus area of study for me was employment and training, so it's basically workforce development. In those days, what we were looking at was tapping into the strength of the joint apprenticeship training programs that exist around the country. Primarily in those days, they were in the building trades, but they're not all limited to the building trades these days. But the idea is that you have a period of time where the individual is learning the trades and having pretty rigorous testing and job experience in all aspects of the craft. Well, the problem that we had in those days, and still today, is that some of the basic educational requirements to go through the standard apprenticeship training were just not in place for some folks, and so that became a role for the public sector. That the public sector could step in and assist in the bridging from whatever happened in the young person's education or even the young adult's educational settings to help bridge them to become the apprentices. Once you get to be an apprentice, then there is a salary that's paid, and there's this wage structure that goes along with it. But I'm excited to hear that there's a focus on apprenticeship in Lake County, and I think the idea of assisting folks in access to that through public investment is very sensible.
And from an economic point of view, it's a trade-off. If the state can provide some type of monetary incentives to business owners, you get people, individuals, the youth, off unemployment. They get them off the streets. They have a motivation to them. So I think it's a win-win.
One of the exciting things that I've learned about in Sonoma County is the approach that Sonoma County residents are taking, that they sort of dub upstream investment. And the idea is that if you make an investment upstream, you can prevent a cost downstream. So if you invest in a pre-apprenticeship or in early childhood education, then you're going to have a cost, but it's an upstream investment that's going to eliminate downstream welfare payments or unemployment checks, right, or drug abuse treatment or incarceration or hospitalization of various kinds. So making those upstream investments is just good sense.
Yeah, I just don't know what really, if Lake County's really getting that, mainly because of what Peter said about the costs involved in getting an apprenticeship program going. I know one young man who is an apprentice in a welding program, and he's been doing really good with that. So it is here. I just don't know how many small businesses are really aware that there might be ways for them to offset the costs and things like that. I think we need a lot more education here in that level. Definitely.
I think that, well, that may be, and I think that. So you're bringing this up causes me a great interest in learning what the county has been doing to expand access to the WIA program.
Yeah, because we've never heard of it, and there hasn't been anything issued here that we are aware
Yeah,
of.
I hate to say this because I have my own personal opinions, which may not be accurate, is that our economy here in Lake County is strictly based on the wine industry. And up here, all the wine or the grapes are shipped out. There's no processing plant up here, so the employment opportunities here are absolutely minimal. Our biggest employer here, and I hate this, is Lake County government. You can't have the highest employer as your county government without generating other businesses to come up here or to be created.
Yeah, there really is way too much of a focus on the wine industry here as far as any kind of development. That's all we see.
Well, and I think it's going to be all things in balance with as we look at the legs of the economic structure for Lake County into the future. I think that the travel destination locations, agriculture, which includes wine and cannabis,
Right.
wine, grapes, and cannabis, internet businesses, and I think we're all still looking for ways to invest in the infrastructure and housing, and those will be businesses those will be business activity and job growth for a certain amount of time at least. And I think one of the things we want to be really mindful of for Lake County is not let us forget the county. It became famous with the fires, and there was all kinds of attention that came for a period of months. And I know that your current representatives are dedicated to maintaining that focus, and I share that with them.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's
the idea
great.
of at one point the pier sheds were in place, and that business activity has diminished, and we've got to find base employment for the county, and I think we've touched on a couple of the possibilities.
I think call centers
talk
is
so
another
far.
great angle that we could develop here. Call centers, because you have a large unemployed workforce here that could be utilized in a low-cost way, Of course, I don't know, with the $15 minimum wage now, I don't know if anything's low-cost anymore.
Well, no, I know my wife
Well, I'm
has...
very happy people are getting raises and
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, I want to address that. I know my wife
Small
has
businesses.
a question regarding agriculture, but before we get into that, Governor Brown just passed this new minimum wage law. What I find funny about it, maybe it's not funny at all, is that the first year you get a 50-cent increase. Every year after that, you get $1 until it hits $15, and then the adjustment is going to be based on the inflation rate in California. With all due respect to Governor Brown, that is not going to have a major impact on the lower income people who work for minimum wage, because 50 cents, yes, nice little boost, but as you know, as costs increase to businesses, they don't absorb it, they pass it on to the consumer. Higher food prices, higher gasoline prices, et cetera, et cetera. So if the state truly wanted to help the minimum wage people, I would think they'd have a much faster and a much greater increase in minimum wage. Otherwise, it's going to be inflation is going to eat up the increases.
Your point is valid. It's a very interesting issue how minimum wage affects different regions within the state. The reason, of course, that the governor and the legislature acted so promptly with this topic is indicated that overwhelmingly Californians support a move to a $15 an hour minimum wage. It's an interesting example of how a proposition can do something that's with like a sledgehammer, and the legislative process, if it can work, will typically result in more nuanced result. Nothing is perfect. This legislation, since it's a statute, can be amended over time to address various issues that might emerge as it goes forward. I think that the initiatives that have been collecting signatures accelerated to $15 an hour more rapidly. However, they did not have the ongoing inflation piece that happens after the $15 level is reached. And I think that all the people involved across the spectrum were looking for a solution that was more acceptable to more parties. My own view, when you're looking at $10 an hour, which has only recently become the minimum wage, you end up with about $1,600 a month, which is one thing if you're. And when by the way, most of the minimum wage workers are women. Many of them are people of color. It's a pretty tough challenge to try to get by in many California communities with a family, and sometimes it can be pretty tough. So I'll tell you my own story. My mom was a waitress. I was born a week after her 16th birthday, and she was a single mom, good share of my childhood. And you kind of see how tough it is for people to just get by. And when you see that and you know it, you realize that it's more than an abstraction. Then I think you tend to look at things in a little bit different way than if you haven't ever experienced it.
Well, I know my wife has a question regarding agriculture she wants to get into, but my last comment here, and I don't expect a response, is that I just felt that Governor Brown was jumping on the bandwagon because cities and other areas were actually bringing their minimum wage up to $15, and I think in a more expedient manner. So to me, this was let's get on the bandwagon here. Let's get this done, and let's show the world that the California state government has wants to help the people in the lower income areas. So.
Well, and I think, Peter, just a comment on that. I think that the outcome of the governor's proposal that was accepted by the legislature lessens the fiscal impact on the state, which is one of his primary operational modes right these days. So if the proposition had gone forward, we would be at $15 sooner. There wouldn't be the potential waiver for a given year, which he did succeed in having. So this legislation is not as ambitious as the propositions that were proposed. So I think the governor sort of put a ceiling on it with his proposal. But I think everybody who is advocating for a minimum wage increase believes that this is a good step, and they can continue to advocate at local levels for enhancements as appropriate.
Okay. Let my wife ask you a question, and then if we have time, I have one last question for you.
All righty, my turn. We kind of do a little tag team thing here. Okay, so you have been living and working in Yolo County for a long time. Very high agricultural area. There are 2 Monsanto seed plants in the county at this time, one in Davis and one in Woodland. I also understand that your daughter is also UC Davis. She works there working in research possibly with Monsanto directly, I'm not sure, but there's connection there as well. How do you feel about GMOs, and what do you feel about GMO labeling?
Well, first, let me just mention my daughter has no connection to UC Davis or to Monsanto or to any GMO research. She works in the National Institutes of Health in the Science Policy Office there.
Oh, right.
Been working on in neuroscience and in issues like brain injuries and
Gotcha. Did she work for them
vaccines
before?
and all kinds of ways of improving biological education.
Good for her.
So
Has she worked in that realm
a point,
before?
but let's make sure that that's not that's not misunderstood.
Has she never worked in that field before or
the,
anything?
The idea of food safety, I think, is central to what individuals should expect. And my thinking on this has evolved and over time. And I think that we've basically come to a point where the idea of labeling is pretty well accepted around the country. We even see companies that make Cheerios now, when you buy a box of them, has a little identification label. I think that we're moving this initiative that came forward a couple of years back that was defeated for labeling. I think that if that were to be on the ballot again, and done carefully, it would probably be accepted. So I think that we're moving as a society to the point where we more and more believe that people ought to be able to know what's in their food, and it seems like such a strange thing that you wouldn't know.
Right.
So I've like I say, I've even in the course of the last several months, I've personally come to the conclusion that labeling itself is not the issue, and is probably more widely accepted by the communities and even the business interests involved than it has been in the past. The challenge, I think, comes into the what are we saying when something is genetically modified? Is it the enhancement of a trait within a given crop? Is it introduction of a foreign a virus or genetic ingredients from another species? So I think as we move forward, we need to really sort out what our definitions are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that some people think those are all pretty standard and understood, but I don't think so. So I think one of the things that I'd be interested in is really digging into what the labeling is about. I think the underlying issue, though, for all of us has got to be food safety.
Right.
Making sure that what people have access to is healthy, nutritious, and safe. And what I've been working on, where I spent a good share of my time as a member of the Board of Supervisors in Yolo County working on, has been food access issues and food security or fighting hunger.
Right.
And what we've been doing, and 1 in 4 children in California are defined as being food insecure. And that's just not acceptable in a state that has such a bounty of good, healthy food. We know that some of the people who have least access to healthy eating are farm workers who, ironically, are producing the food that the rest of us eat. So I'm very interested in attacking issues of hunger and the food system across the spectrum.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate your response on that. Okay, I'm going to put it back over to Peter. I know he's got one more question.
Actually, got a lot more, but we're running out of time.
Yeah.
One thing I liked on your website was that you believe that UC and CSU should go back to what you refer to, what I also call a zero-based budget, which I think is the only way to prepare a budget. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be something government agencies want to do. They have money they spend in their fiscal year, and when they're asked to do a budget for the following year, they kind of like, okay, well, I spent $1 million here, so this year I want to spend $12 million. Do you think that government should go back to a zero-based budgeting process? And if so, what can you think you can personally do to persuade your colleagues to agree to that?
I have so I was a budget analyst for the legislature 30 years ago, and we've gone through so many different waves of almost as many budget reform waves as schools have gone through education reform waves. I think the higher education system in California, we've got to improve the trust that the residents of California have in the financing and the spending of our university systems. I think that when we see tuition continuing to rise and extreme payments of high compensation packages for administrators and for we have a mismatch of expectations, and then we add to that less and less Californians being admitted because of the quest to bring in out-of-state and out-of-country students. We really need to take a look at how we're spending the money that California is investing. Now, there's a factor here. Then our state's investment in our higher education systems has diminished as a proportion of the total budget for those institutions. So as we look at scrutinizing more carefully UC and CSU budgets, we also need to make sure that we're adding the resources necessary to keep those systems afloat.
Okay.
Okay, I understand what you just said, but
did I lose you?
No, I'm somewhat intelligent, not always. And speaking about what your daughter does, I have sports-related epilepsy, so I'd love to hear her research on that. But look, I guess let me be more blunt, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, is can a zero-based budget work in government?
Yes, it can. When we last worked at that in California government, I believe it was probably about 15 or 20 years ago. We had a really strong effort to move it forward. The thing that would have to happen if we were to pursue it and do it well is that we would have to move away from the existing incrementalist program budgets that you described. And what typically happens in government is they have said, do this and the other thing too. And the result is that you spend a whole lot of money on paperwork production, and the bureaucracy tends to pucker up and resist. So I think what we need to do is look at individual organizations like UC and do it there and focus just on that and see and kind of test it as a pilot to see how far we can go.
I would love to.
So the reason that I wandered off into the specifics about the higher education system is that I do believe that California's residents should have access to free community college, or at least low-cost community college. There should be transfer agreements to UCs, and the higher education costs have to be contained, and we've got a kind of a major crisis of public trust.
Right.
So zero-based budgeting would be a way to get at it. The budgets for the financial operations of the university system, our public higher education university system in California, are exceedingly complex with multiple funding streams that the state's portion is just one element of it. So I'm not sure there's an easy fix. It's not a wave a wand and implement a new budgetary system and it goes away. So I think at the end of the day, what I am interested in is restoring public trust in the financial operations of our university system and making the cost of making it more affordable for students who are coming from families in Lake County and around the state who don't have a fortune to invest and want their children to go on.
Okay. We're almost running out of time, so I have one last question for the moment. Hopefully you'll come back on our show at a later date. When Bill Dodd was, again, running and after he was elected, I asked him a question, and the question was, do you all know how the gas tax is being utilized? Because at the time, Governor Brown wanted to raise the gas tax. And we won't worry about the economic impact on that. But I made Mr. Dodd aware that, by the way, are you aware that some local jurisdictions here, among other many, many cities in the state of California, do not use their gas tax revenues the way they were meant to be? And as an example, here in the city of Clear Lake, when they do their budgets, they allocate about 80% of the gas tax revenue for administrative purposes and salaries. So everyone's bitching about, oh, we need our roads are horrible, we need to repair them, we need to do this, we need to do that. Well, if there was a proper oversight on the gas tax revenues, maybe we wouldn't have to raise gas prices, and maybe we'd be able to have nicer roads. And unfortunately, Mr. Dodd had other things that he concerned about. I don't believe he ever followed through on that, or if he did, I didn't hear any feedback on that. So what is your feeling on that? I mean, I don't like abuse of money. You just said that people need, our citizens to have trust in our government.
The gas tax was last raised in 1993, and they're subsequent to, so this is now 23 years hence. So I think there's always some ways of improving the efficient and effective use of any funding stream, but I think that when we are looking at the billions of dollars of transportation infrastructure deficiencies throughout California, raising the gas tax has got to be one of the elements of a comprehensive package. The increased efficiency of vehicles means that less volume of gas is being purchased for the same amount of vehicle miles traveled as it was in 1993. So we're not getting the same amount of revenue even for the same vehicle miles traveled for operational use. So we probably need to take a look at other ways of financing transportation infrastructure. Oregon is now looking at a miles traveled or a surcharge for high efficiency vehicles, which sounds perverse, but the idea of it is that high efficiency vehicles, electric cars or high efficiency gas engines, are still putting wear and tear on the roads, but they're not paying as much for for that road infrastructure as other vehicles. There's always, I've been chairman of the Sacramento Area Council of Governments Board of Directors. That's the organization that for 6 counties and 22 cities allocates transportation funds. We've just completed a plan for 20 years for $35 billion of transportation expenditures. And as we're looking at the ways that we fund transportation, we are in desperate need of increasing the gas tax and then taking other steps to provide revenues to support our infrastructure. Okay. And your underlying point is, are we doing everything we can to provide proper oversight? There's always
Angie, we're on the air right now.
We'll look at that. I will tell you, there's always something that could be done better in that arena.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But I think I can't think that on the statewide level that's going to be a major driver of cost.
Okay. Unfortunately, we are out of time. And
go on with you.
Yeah, I have a lot more questions.
I go on, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm so excited about the chance to talk with you. You've asked great questions.
Thank you.
And I love coming to Lake County. It feels like going home. It feels like coming into Wyoming with all of the beauty and the just kind of common sense of the people.
Thank you.
I like it.
Well, next time you're in town, please get in touch with us or have Alex contact us. We'd love to meet you face to face, maybe do a video interview as well, so we can get some more people to understand who you are and what your take is. Okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, sir. Thank you.
You have a good rest of the day.
And anybody wants to see the video can watch it at lcm-tv.com.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we're going to have to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Jose Simon or Simon?
Simon or Simon?
Jose Moke Simon.
Simon, okay.
Moke Simon will be here with us right after the break. We'll be right back. I'm also going to play Don's little ad that he did. It'll just be audio, but, that's just a little icing on the cake. So we'll be back. This is Terry.
And Pete the tax guy.
All righty. Lake County Magazine coming back at you.
porch in the moonlight. Listen to a coyote calling me just out of sight. It's all a song that mountain sings almost every night. It's a superstition state of mind. When you sit there looking at her, something happens to your head. She can lift your guard and spirit, son. She can kill you by day. Fill you up with golden dreams of what you hope to find in a superstition state of mind. I've seen rainbows dance across the canyons, seen the sunset glowing in her face. If a double shot of blue sky's what you're needing, friend, believe me, I know just the place. We'll be sitting on the front porch in the moonlight, listening to a coyote calling just out of sight. It's all a song that mountain sings almost every night. It's a superstition state of mind. She work you till you're worn and tired. She can give you well told. When the storm clouds gather round her, she's a mighty hard horse to hold. There's something in her magic door that makes a man unwind in a superstition state of mind. I've seen rainbows dance across the canyons, I've seen the sunsets glowing in her face. If a double shot of blue sky's what you're needing, friend, believe me, I know just the place. We'll be sitting on the front porch in the moonlight. Well, they came out of the west, uncut above the rest. From the way they were dressed, they showed up country. Every night they played the bars with them old beat-up guitars. That music got all scarred and kind of funky. It was a hot night in July. They were feeling a little bit high. They decided that they'd try out something new. It was a crazy melody. Oh, it was wild and it was free, and it soared like an eagle in the blue. I ain't holding on to nothing, and nothing holds me down. Got a spirit like a gypsy on the run, and I ain't gonna be here in the early morning light. So mama, don't you go thinking I'm the one. Say mama, don't you go thinking I'm the one. With the guitar player grin, took a big old shot of gin. His guitar gave out a low and mournful sound. He said this ain't rock and roll, it'll satisfy your soul. And he just called the magic mountain breakdown. Ain't holding on to nothing, and nothing that pulls me down. It's plain you still like me like a roll. Music is our lifeblood, we share it all alone. That sacred magic mountain is our home. Say, 'cause I've earned the right to play, so let me lay it on you one more time. He's a genuine magic mountain cowboy. He's a woman chasing guitar picking fool. His pleasure is a saddle and a black cup of coffee. His heart is warm but his eyes are cold and cruel. His heart is warm but his eyes are cold and cruel.
we are back. I hope you all enjoyed that interview that we just had with Don Saylor. And we now have our secondary guest, and I'll have my wife introduce the gentleman.
First of all, just to let you know what you were listening to, that was the McNasty Brothers. They're from Apache Junction, Arizona, one of our friends. And that was Superstition State of Mind and the Magic Mountain Breakdown. So, welcome, Mr. Simon. Nice to have you here. You are running for District 1 for the County Supervisor's seat, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it. Nice meeting you, Terry and Pete.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. We're going to have all your counterparts here sooner or later, but you're the first.
All right. Always nice to be the first.
That's right.
Really appreciate the time today. And like you said, I am running for District 1 Supervisor. You know, after everything that we had gone through in September and all the recovery and everything, I felt like it was the right time for myself to step up and really try and be involved with the County Board of Supervisors to the task of rebuilding our community and helping through the recovery stages. And whether or not, like many of you may know, if you do not know me, Jose Simon is my official name, but I go by Moke Simon. That's what everybody knows me by.
And where did that name come from?
That is a traditional tribal name. My grandfather, Jose Simon Sr.
You're the third.
I'm the third. There's Jose Simon Sr., Jose Simon Jr., and then myself. And my grandfather's name was, tribal name was Muppy. And when he went to school, it was changed over to Moke. And so, carrying on that tradition, I am actually Little Moke, and my dad is Big Moke. Now, obviously, those roles have changed.
Now, who's
over
bigger
the years.
is what I want to know.
Well, obviously, me, those roles changed. When I came in, I was the little guy, and now we've switched roles, but I'm still Little Moke, and he's Big Moke, and
Nice.
My grandfather has passed, and so it's just a traditional name. It sticks really well. I don't have my hair cut today, but I always don a mohawk. That's what I've done my entire life.
Awesome.
My hair cutter at this point, my two hair cutters, one, my mother has had back surgery, so she can't cut it. And my daughter is about to have our second grandkid on May 11th, so both of my hair cutters are out right now.
Oh, wow.
So I need to find a backup.
I used to do my son's hair, and we did mohawks, so maybe I can help you out.
Don't.
Yeah, he hated my work.
Well, he knows-
I thought
I
it
know.
looked good, but what the heck.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what you accomplished during the fires. You were recently named Man of the Year.
Yes, I was recently named Man of the Year in Lake County. It was a very humbling evening. I was actually nominated for, I think it was humanitarian, and then ended up, the board made a decision in Man of the Year. So
Fantastic.
it was very exciting night. Was unexpected. Like I said, humbling, because everything that we did, the rancheria, all the community members around Middletown, was just doing what you needed to do.
Right.
As far as being a leader. And
Well, that's
in
what
time of
impressed me,
tragedy,
though.
just stepping up and
You knew what to
what's
do.
supposed to be.
There were so many people within the local government who did not know what to do. And to see you just step up, open your doors, the firefighters had a place to stay, there was food available, there was supplies that were given out to people, there was a refuge there for anyone who was victim of the fire, and it just was really monumental how you stepped up and managed things the way you did.
Well, as you would say, we were thrown right into the fire.
Exactly.
And obviously, first thing was safety, getting everybody out. That was a monumental task for us on the evacuation. We had decided to evacuate as a tribal council probably around 6 p.m. We started closing the casino way before we were notified by any agencies. We said we're going to close down. So we started evacuating the casino, evacuating the rancheria, making sure we got all of our members out, and not just out into the park. We wanted them out over to Calistoga,
right.
out of the area, and we did that. By 9 o'clock, everybody was gone from
Was the
our
rancheria
organizations.
affected at all by the fire?
The rancheria was not affected
Good.
on the 80 acres that we have. It burned right around us.
It sure did,
And
didn't
I
it?
will thank Cal Fire, all of the helicopter guys, they stayed with us. All the retardant fellows, everybody that Cal Fire and all the organizations that came in. That Tuesday and Wednesday, we weren't sure what was going to happen because it was still burning out around us and behind us every night. But they did a great job of cutting those lines and securing it. And one of the fears was it getting over to St. Helena. That is the only fuel left on the south end of the county pretty much here that is dense. And we are currently, from a tribal standpoint, going to be working on a lot of projects, parking the inside, getting the ladders off the ground, getting all the underbrush cut, because we saw the devastation in the way this thing went right over fire lines, and we want to make sure we do everything that we can to help protect that end of the valley as much as possible.
What impressed me was your proactive stance, not reactive stance, and we've had some concerns over emergency management system here in Lake County, yet you took the lead on your own, taking care of your people and being very proactive about it. And that's what I think we need more in government.
Absolutely.
Our eyes are wide open. For Middletown Rancheria now, we've been working consistently with FEMA and Cal OES to come up with an emergency operations plan, to put it all down in writing. Everything we did was on the fly, we just using common sense. We also had an organization called the Intertribal Long-Term Recovery Foundation, which was started with La Jolla and a bunch of tribes down south. I think there's 12 of them. La Jolla Reservation was devastated. The entire reservation was burned. And so an organization came out of that, and they were on site 3 days after the fire. And really helped us really conform and really put everything together. And obviously, we were already up and running. We were like, all right. So they're like, well, let's formalize. Let's get the Emergency Operations Center going. Let's get the Incident Command Post going. I was the Incident Commander. We had a vice, Deputy Incident Commander. And we rolled out the same thing that they had up in Lakeport. And always, for South County, my concern is, it's kind of like we're so far away from the government.
It's so true.
That we're kind of on our own. And I think we were able to, as a tribal government, establish that we're constantly operating as a government. We run a small country out there on our 80 acres, and we understand the needs of the people. And what we did was we tried to really meet the needs and the unmet needs. And growing up in the community, it made it really easy to communicate with all the landowners. Everybody did. Karen Jones and everybody at the Lions Club, Israel, who were setting up the food and distribution. They were at the table. The Brownings, Ty from North Coast Barn, they were taking in the large animals. We had also the veteran Smith. He came to a couple of meetings. Dr. Smith, who's done a phenomenal job with the animals.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And everybody who was involved in town showed up, and we just kind of put the thing together. And it really, like I said, we're all one tribe, and we came together like a community, and it was a humbling experience and a very scary experience at the same time.
Right.
We got through it, and we worked hard, and we had our meetings. We had our 7 a.m. meetings, and we had 9 a.m. meetings in the morning, 7 p.m. debriefs in the afternoon, with all the logistics, with the Red Cross at the table, FEMA, Cal OES, and just started to do what we could to get prepared to bring our people back. And it worked as good as it could, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
But we could always get better, and hopefully we don't have to get better and keep going through instances like this.
Well, I think we need to have proper planning and management of our forests. I think that's the biggest problem. When controlled burns were made not happening, this has created a huge fuel problem. We live on Point Lakeview, and that peninsula is completely littered with downed trees that have been there for years.
Yeah.
That thing's just an inferno waiting to go. And this is the kind of management that we need to have within all of our forests throughout, not just in national forests, but local forests as well.
I completely agree. I can remember as a young tribal guy out on the rancheria, the way the elders would do it is, coming around fall, they would pretty much burn everything off underneath.
Right.
It was interesting how they just kind of went around, lit all the fires, we'd burn all the leaves, everything would be burned off. So
and
you
some
would
trees
get the
depend
effect
on
that
that.
we're getting right now, because some of the most beautiful flowers I've seen in years of my lifetime. And if,
Amazing.
those are the things. We are going through a tragedy, but if you look and see what Mother Nature is doing right now.
Well, some
it's
plants depend on
unbelievable.
that heat from the fire to be able to procreate themselves.
Yeah,
They have to have the higher temperatures.
That was a report done last night, the long-term task recovery meeting, and the arborist, or the guy from Berkeley who came up and did the report on the trees in the park, and he was talking. There are, like you said, some trees, they only open up their spores when there's a fire.
Exactly.
And how they regenerate. So very interesting in what you're seeing, but also it's beautiful. It's regenerating. One thing I know is happening. They're doing the best that they can at the county level to start the rebuild. I know there's homes on my daughter lost her home on Douglas Street. We had 43 altogether with the tribe, 5 tribal members, and 38 employees lost their homes. And slowly but surely, there are starting to get, I think we've got probably, I think, 7 homes in our organization that are starting to be rebuilt. I just got a call from the county office today that my daughter's manufactured home permit was completed today, so I got to go up and get it after this, which is very nice. But I know they're working hard and diligently. But you see the reconstruction happening, and that is
It's very encouraging.
Noticed
very
that.
encouraging. But there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
And a lot of different issues that need to be addressed. And our community is going to change, and it has been changed. It's how we rebuild it is the most important thing, and I think that comes from leadership at the Board of Supervisors and in the community as we help to encourage people to come back, rebuild, and to bring our community back.
Exactly. And you've been tribal chair for how long?
I've been tribal chair since 1997.
My goodness, so a long time.
Yeah,
So you were part of the planning involving Twin Pines and the casino
Absolutely.
being built and
I've
everything?
done a little history on myself. I was born at Redbud Hospital. I lived on the Rancheria
Local boy.
most of my life. I went to Middletown High School. I graduated high school there. I went to Butte College, division, a little junior college over in Orville. Very good football team. I was a football player, so I was lucky enough to play there. And then I went down to Texas A&M Kingsville, a Division II school down in South Texas, right in Kingsville, Texas, about an hour and a half out of Corpus Christi. Had a good football career there also. I was lucky enough at that point to go ahead and I was signed as a free agent with
Really?
Indianapolis Colts.
Cool.
So I was in there the same year as Jimmy Harbaugh and Marshall Falk and Steve Ettman and all those guys. And then I also, after that, I was allocated over to the World Football League.
All right.
So I spent a year in Spain, and I spent 1 year in Scotland, and I also played some arena football down in Arizona.
You did play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I followed the Arena Football League
Yes.
because I spent 33 odd years there. I knew I recognized your name.
Cedric Bonner,
Yep.
Hunky Cooper.
Were you playing with Warner at that time, or was that a little bit later?
Warner was playing for, I think, Iowa. At that, was it the Iowa Barnstormers?
No, but he got to. You're right. It wasn't ours. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right.
He was in the AFL there with
Yes.
Iowa. I may have think he beat us in the playoffs.
I think that's
with those
true,
Guys,
yeah.
with Hunky Cooper and those guys. So had a great football career. Back in 1994, the casino was started. The tribe voted. I was off doing my thing. I was done playing football in 1996, and at that point, I came back and got into tribal leadership. I was elected as a chairman in 97.
What inspired you to do that?
What inspired me to be a tribal leader? I was asked by some of the family members and stuff, would you come back and help be a leader here at the Rancheria? And it was a no-brainer for me.
Good.
When you talk about making your own destiny and having an opportunity, I was still called for 2 years by the World Football League to come back, and I was in the role that I thought I should be.
So you made a
In leadership.
personal
Oh, I made
sacrifice, yeah.
Absolutely. I love my family. I love the opportunity to know everything that I do every day should hopefully make the next 7 generations' lives better than we are. We may not get to enjoy everything that they will, but as long as we're building that path for them and giving them an opportunity, I've done my job, and I can sleep very well at night.
And no regrets.
None at all.
Good.
I had an opportunity to work with some of the greatest tribal leadership, as far as I'm concerned, across the country in the Indian gaming industry. I was able to negotiate a compact with the state of California in 1999, which was a very humbling experience. But it's given us 22 years of economic development, and right now the tribe is in a position to really set itself up for success for the next 7 generations. We currently, as you see, the event center, which was the tent, it was incremental in putting that together in '99 when we signed the compact. It was a sprung structure. Some people look at it as, oh, it's a big tent. It was, but that tent, which cost us about altogether $180,000, did 100 times fold for what it should have, and it's still there. It's still operating. It's a beautiful facility, and it gave us the opportunity to be in the almost 100,000 square foot facility that we have now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're familiar with a lot of the, I hate to use this term, and I apologize, the reservations in Arizona, especially one at Fort McDowell.
Yes.
I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Absolutely.
When they first started the gaming there, they had an abundance of funds coming in. They created their own medical center. They put, I don't know if they purchased it or gave low and interest loans to their individuals there to create better housing. And they also started giving dividends out to the individuals. And unfortunately, you could tell every time of year when they got their payment, they new motorcycles and new vehicles and stuff.
Yeah.
But do you do anything like that?
We definitely do. We currently have a clinic on the Rancheria. It's open every other Wednesday. We're in coordination with Lake County Tribal Health because we're a consortium part of that consortium, which is growing and doing a great job every year. So we also do housing, education. We have general welfare. We pay for all the health care. The insurances for all of our tribal members are completely 100% covered. And we do, we have the Indian Child Welfare Program. I'm proud to say the Middletown Rancheria doesn't have any kids in Child Protective Services.
Lovely.
We do all tribal customary adoption processes where we make sure that they stay within the tribe, and that's a very important issue for us. I'm very proud of some of the things.
You're really
that we've been
setting
able
an
to do in
example for the other tribes.
that.
Yeah.
We want to make sure our children are staying with our tribal families.
Is what you've accomplished there, and I'll say you, along with obviously all the people that helped
I
you.
have a very strong tribal council. I have a very intelligent general membership that really are in tune. We meet every 30 days with our membership, and I think that's invaluable with disseminating all the information and letting them know that we are doing our best to push their vision forward and to really take care of them.
Right. So with those accomplishments, how do you think you can bring that type of environment to the county and the supervisors themselves, which has its own very distinct attitude, if I can use that word?
Obviously, what you see with me is what you get. And I try and educate myself on any environment that I'm thrown into. I'm doing the research right now, but what I think I can do is bring a real communication between all departments in the county and really understand how each one should function and what they should be doing for the general membership. Our community members here in Lake County. What I would like to see, and which I am seeing a bunch of it, is good customer service. How can we help you? Not how can we slow you down? Those types of things. So when someone comes to a desk, whether it's any department in the county, whether it's public works, tax, building, how can we help you accomplish what you need to do and in a timely manner to make you feel like you've accomplished something when you showed up at the desk and asked for help?
Good answer. I like that. Do you think you can work with the current supervisors and or the ones who may be elected? Because there's always seems to be a 5-0 vote on most of the issues. Like, okay, well, if you're going to have majority, then I'm just going to vote your way anyway. I don't necessarily agree with that aspect.
I completely agree with your attitude. Just agreeing to agree, I don't think that's why we're elected. We're elected to look at the issue and really vote how you feel. And I think a 4-1 vote doesn't hurt anything. It lets people know where you're standing, or a 3-2 vote. I think you need to vote what you think is right and not just along with the other supervisors. I'm elected by the District 1 people, my constituents, and if I feel like that's the way that it needs to be voted, and I'm the only one voting no or yes on an issue, then that's what will be done. I make sure that I think checks and balances and disagreements are the way things get done in the right way. Everybody agreeing, I know that doesn't happen. I have a 5-member tribal council. We are very opinionated on what direction there is. But what we do is we we hash it out. We all come together and say, okay, here's an agreement. 3 of us may be voting yes, 2 voting no. That's the way it is. But we move forward with the ultimate decision, but we let everybody know where we stand and why we're taking that stance with the
Sure.
issue. And I think that's very important.
Right.
On our tribal council, I'm the one, if there's a vote of membership or something, I break a tie, and there's been times where it's tied. Those aren't fun times, but the right decisions are made and you move forward. And you do that and you try and explain why you did it. Some people are going to like it and some ain't. But you stand up and you really make sure. I think having those types of votes lets people know that you actually read through what was happening, understood it, and formed an opinion on it. Because I think there are some things you can vote 5-0. I think I do want to commend. I was at the long-term task recovery force meeting last night. Everybody was giving their reports. I also give a report with that board, and there was some news given out last night that the Board of Supervisors voted to not have the road impact fee when you do your permits anymore. And I know some people had paid it, and what they announced they would be reimbursed. I think that
nice.
is. I don't have a time frame or anything.
But that's
like
only
that
in
was
the fire
given.
zone. so-
Only in the fire zone,
Yeah.
for the rebuilds. And my thoughts on that were that would be a 5-0 vote, because
Yeah.
it's been something from the beginning that I have personally sat in meetings and said, hey, the permit issue, it's just because you had insurance or just because you had some money, you shouldn't be punished to rebuild a home that you
No, and you
that
shouldn't
was
have to
burned
pay
down.
for permits when they've already been permitted.
And I know that there are certain instances, and you listen to the arguments, okay, but there are certain things that could be waived, and I was very happy. I made a fair point to be clapping to that point, because I know it's going to make a lot of people have caught me on the street and asked, why are they, this is going on, that's going on. And my answer to them is, all I can do is ask questions and let them know the opinions, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, because your focus, and obviously your whole life, is based around the Rancheria, Middletown, Hidden Valley, and that end of South Lake County. The district that you'll be in control of runs all the way to parts of Clear Lake,
Yeah, absolutely.
Lower Lake included. So what do you offer to the voters who might be interested in having you as a supervisor in those areas?
As far as Lower Lake, I got a story, and I've been waiting to tell this one.
Good.
I'm a football guy, and
That's right.
way back, so let's see, that would be probably about 86, so like 83, 82, 83. I was a young guy. Pop Warner football was coming in. Middletown didn't have a Pop Warner football team. The first time I put a helmet on in Lake County was here for the Lower Lake Pop Warner football program.
Nice.
It was the first year I played. Matter of fact, that was the only year I got to play, because I grew into the frame I am now. When football came to Middletown, I got to practice, but I never got to play in any games. So my Pop Warner career started here in Lower Lake. I do have family members that live on this end over here in Lower Lake, a couple down by the old Days Supply building, the Koi Nation, I think, which has their office down here. What I think I could bring to them is being available all the time. Like to have some meetings, obviously, to see what the needs are and what the issues are that need to be addressed here. Obviously, education is one of the things that I am adamant about. Setting up education, maybe being able to keep it here in the county. If not, at least creating jobs that will give individuals opportunities to come back in their community and help be a productive member. And those would be all things that I would like to sit down with the Lower Lake and the Clear Lake residents and understand what their issues are and what their needs are for the future and the next generations.
Okay. On that note, and we just had the conversation with Mr. Saylor regarding apprenticeship programs, training of the youth. Is there anything right now that you have working that, unfortunately, there is a tremendous amount of unemployment among the youth?
Absolutely.
Do you have anything that you're doing on the Rancheria where you're taking the same youth who maybe not the best students, and I was like one of those, where you can get them into some form of occupation, get them properly trained, even possibly licensed as electrician, carpenter, whatever?
Right now, the one program we're having because of the fire is Northern California Indian Development Council. You must be over 18 years of age and registered. But there's an opportunity to come out and have labor job. You need to go sign up at the EDD office in Lakeport. I get the streets mixed up. It's either 50 Front Street or 51st Street in Lakeport in the EDD office. And there's opportunity for work right now for individuals. And our thoughts during the construction, the rebuild, the cleaning up of the county lands and those types of things, it would be able to give children or young people skills, whether it's using chainsaws, whether it's rebuilding homes, a skill that they could carry on after and during the construction periods here in the South Lake County. As far as what we try and do in Middletown Rancheria, we also own the Mount St. Helena Brewing Company.
I read that, yes.
And what we attempt to do, and we can't hire everybody, but we do attempt to hire from Middletown High School and the areas, younger gentlemen to work, as a dishwasher or a busser, those types of things, and try and build those skills to know you got to show up on time, you got to do your job, and those type of working skills. So at this point, that's what we have going on. We currently, through our tribal programs, the ICWA program, we have visitation of colleges. Matter of fact, we have GONA, which is a tribal program that we're looking to try and host here pretty soon. And that is really to work with the youth to encourage education, employment, or other opportunities like that.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Let me put you on the spot.
Go ahead.
I like doing that. You are going to hopefully represent District 1.
Yes.
And however, you're also representing Lake County. So if you had an agendized item or something that the board is discussing, it may not be in the best interest for your district, but it's the best interest of all of Lake County. How would you handle that decision?
What I would do is try and have some community meetings with my constituents down in my district. Maybe it's a meeting in Middletown, one here in Lower Lake, and really discuss the issue and let them know what I am thinking as I read through the, what's happening or what they're going to decide on. And then come to a decision at the end that hopefully will benefit the county and at least educate everybody why I was making that decision, whether they were for it or against it, of why I'm deciding to go or vote the way that I am. And being open and upfront about everything that needs to be talked about. Because as far as a county, I believe in this county, obviously. I think, number one, we get a healthy lake, we got a healthy economy. Bottom line, I think there's a lot of economic development opportunity that needs to happen. And whether somebody agrees with it or not, I think there are opportunities out there that we need to really push and to help market ourselves as a county. And that's really what it comes down to, is marketing. For years and years with the gaming industry, you understand how you market yourself, how you treat people when they get here. It matters how many times they're going to do a return trip and talk about their experience as they're here.
Right, and I know my wife has.
Well, I
Go
just
ahead.
wanted to say, when you said some things people may agree with, some not, does any of those opportunities include cannabis?
Cannabis is something that is definitely going to have to be addressed. From my point of view, as a District 1 supervisor, it is coming. We need to be prepared for it. I believe it will be a billion-dollar industry that needs to be regulated. From a tribal standpoint, we are in the cannabis industry just as we were pre-compact. When we were pre-compact with our gaming that we were doing here, even in Middletown, we were under arrest by the FBI. I myself, as a tribal leader, our names were posted, how many machines we had. So we are right now, and the banks wouldn't deal with us. We were illegal.
Right.
Out of the governor, out of some of the Sacramento's. A couple of times we were called illegal. We were illegal. We were racketeer. We were doing all kinds of things. There were some
gangsters,
serious
yeah.
industries. We were gangsters.
Well, we saw what happened at Fort McDowell. I mean, that was
Absol-
crazy
and
how
so
that went down.
we had to fight for those things. But what I think is I see the same regulatory structure that we currently do. We regulate, obviously there's National Gaming Commission, California Gambling Control Commission. There are all kinds of commissions. But each one of the tribal nations, we regulate ourselves. There's a regulatory board that we elect in of our own tribal members that regulate our gaming facilities to make sure we follow all the mix, all the standards, all the shipping agreements, with the sheriff, everything that needs to be done, how we do our business, and we regulate ourselves. We've been in operation for 21 years. We've never had a violation. I'm very proud to say that.
That's
We've
wonderful.
never had a disagreement one way or the other. We follow the rules.
Well, it's my favorite
but we
casino.
regulate ourselves.
It's the only one I
Mm-hmm.
win money at, so I'll always be a big fan. You
Just
guys do good.
We're rolling out our new stuff. We have our new one is we've made the most millionaires. We
Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome.
We had an $8.4 million winner.
Whoa.
Oh, my
which is the
gosh.
biggest.
On a-
almost
on a
100%
slot
positive
machine?
in California.
On a slot
yeah, on the
machine?
Wheel of Fortune. He was
Oh, on the
Nice.
wheel. Oh, I finally won that
a
one.
Retired fireman. He
God bless
he hit
him.
it, and we're rolling that out, and we've had a few other $1 million winners, and
Excellent,
we
excellent. I'm
just,
going to keep trying.
but
I mean,
that's-
I got $270
I do
out of you
same
the other
thing.
day.
I know the odds because I'm in the business, but I gamble it. All of my other cousin tribes here. Canocti is probably my favorite. I go over there and do my
Oh, that's
gambling.
funny.
But I hit Running Creek and I hit Robinson.
Yeah, I like
and
Running
Creek
Coyote
too.
Valley. I make sure. I always look at it as I'm reinvesting in another tribal community. I would love to win,
Yep.
but if I don't, I know that it's
It's
going
okay.
to the right place because I know most of the leaders.
That's the way
and
I feel
know
about
they're
it,
working
too.
hard about
I
it.
don't mind giving my money away.
Yeah, well.
I do want to get back on track. though.
Yeah, let me.
The
Sorry.
federal government has given the tribes autonomy where it comes to cannabis. So
Well-
they have a certain amount of legal right to be able to make decisions regarding that, correct?
I'll give you no.
Okay.
Believe me, we have researched this.
Yes.
As soon as the DOJ document came out,
Yes.
we did our research. We went to all the. It's still a schedule. What is it? A
Yeah.
Schedule one.
I just saw
narcotic.
today that the DEA is going to consider downgrading it.
If
though.
they downgrade it,
Yeah.
now you're talking a whole different scenario.
Sweet.
But we still are federal land, and so we still have the battle of. There are potentially right now some tribes in
They're
the state,
trying
say
it.
Washington.
Yeah.
I think there's a tribe that has opened up. They've
Yeah.
done a compact with the state.
Good.
They have opened up. Matter of fact, I was down at NIGA 2 weeks ago, and they were announcing it that they're open. So there are opportunities, but it needs to be legal in the state, and then I think there are opportunities. It was kind of a gold rush there. Everybody thought, oh, it's
Yeah.
legal, it's legal.
Yeah, I saw what
But it
happened
really
up in
depends-
Pinolville.
How your
Yeah.
what the local sheriff, what the local attorney general, those types of things, how you go about it. There is an opportunity that's coming down the pipe. I think everybody's going to get involved with it. I think, like I said, it needs to be regulated.
Absolutely.
It needs to really be taken care of in the right way, and I think it can be a very profitable business.
Well, I think
just-
cannabis tourism is a great thing too, and we have such a great opportunity since it grows so well here.
Absolutely.
To be able to bring people here, and if they come for healing, let them come for healing and heal with the best herb that they could possibly get their hands on, or on the other side, if it's legalized recreationally, have a place to come and have some fun and feel good about it.
We're exploring all options
Great.
all around, and I think everybody needs to be open-minded about it because
Right.
it is going to be here, and it's going to be an industry that
Absolutely.
is going to make
Okay.
And that, with
billions,
that, I'll turn it over
billions
to
of
Peter.
dollars.
I want to go
Thank you.
back to what you said about the service end of our economy. First of all, let me give kudos to Jack, your food and beverage.
Oh, we
Oh, yeah.
love.
We've known him
Jack.
but great guy.
Yeah.
It looks like he works hard and does a great job down there.
We're very lucky. I'll say that right now on the radio. We are blessed with the employees that we have.
Right.
I, as a tribal chairman, and I know our tribal council, we make sure to let them know that we really appreciate every day that they come and sacrifice a part of their life for us. We see how hard they work.
Well, the Manzanita also is our favorite restaurant in the county.
So where I'm going with this conversation is when we do visit your establishment, 99% of the time everyone is very upbeat, very positive, very service based. In order to develop a tourist industry here, all industry, all hotels, all motels, all restaurants, all coffee shops, all fast food outlets
Yeah.
need to have the same attitude. And what I've seen when I first moved up here, I know Terry's probably sick and tired of me saying this, is that we were treated like outsiders. We walk into a coffee shop. Well, we weren't part of the gang, so we were ignored.
Yeah.
Okay, in order for this county to be developed and have a quality reputation, we need to ensure that everyone has that service-based attitude. If you're elected, what can you or what would you do to try to improve it? Thank you.
I think there's a program already out there. I can't remember who's doing it right now, but the Lake County Ambassadors program that
Right.
they're doing.
Right. I think that's through
that
the
is
Chamber of Commerce.
Through the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great program. I want to take that program. We have Larry Galupe and Kyle Lewis, our marketing person, have already gone through it. I would like to host that down at the event center, and I would like myself to go through it. And really involve all the businesses in the county, like you say, to really get into. We implemented over 18 months ago a program called Memorable Moments at Twin Pine Casino, and it's really worked. As you say, they're friendly. So what they have on a weekly basis or a monthly basis is they have each week it's a different one. One day it's meet and greet. Next one is meet, greet, and sell. Next one is find out some information about the customer. So you can use, the next time they come in, you can have a personal conversation. So our Memorable Moments program, what I've seen it do at our facility is really phenomenal. And I think through the ambassador program and opportunities, I think those are things we need to build on with all business owners in the county. Say, hey, here's an opportunity, and maybe come up with some grant programs where we could put those on throughout the county and say, come on in, let's talk about customer service, how you're treating people, what type
Absolutely.
of, how many return trips you can do, and how to make people feel welcome. Because the most important thing, which I agree with, is when you walk through that door and you're spending your money, you want to make sure that you are welcomed, you feel good when you leave, and we're in one of the businesses that you must do that. Because 99% of the people are not walking out with big check, and you got to make sure it's a great experience and they feel good and they're going to come back. And it's the same at the brewery. We do our best to do that also when they come through the door. Try and really make their experience memorable, whether it's getting them that extra ranch or checking on them if they need the refill of the soda, just the little things, and letting them know if the kids are running around, hey, that's okay. This is an establishment for that. Don't let them out of control, but this is a place in a family environment that you can enjoy
Yeah, we
yourself.
haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
We're going to get down there and have
Do you
some.
make a good dark beer?
We make a great beer. We make a stout IPA, pale.
I never
brown,
realized that. That's so funny.
and a honey wheat.
Ooh.
So all good beers. We got a new brewmaster recently. He was the assistant brewmaster over at Calistoga Inn, and he's come over and he's making some great beers.
Great. That's exciting.
So, in conjunction with the tourist industry, I always, excuse my French here, I always bitch about the lack of economic development in this county, the lack of new businesses starting up, the lack of businesses being transferred or relocating up here, the lack of jobs. What do you think you could do if you're elected to help stimulate that?
Economic development, something on, I can speak directly to the tribe now. We are currently looking at some expansion opportunities. We've already had our bankers out here. Matter of fact, we just finished a feasibility study. We're hoping to expand our hotel, permanent convention center, swimming pool,
nice.
those types of things, making it a real resort.
Concert venue, festival.
And indoor right now till we get some more property. We're currently looking to get some other property under our belt. As far as the county goes, I think this is a very unique opportunity with community development and some of the other organizations to help get some low interest loans out there and other things to people to help develop those businesses around the lake, other food opportunities, and really just working with our local folks and seeing what they think is needed, because job creation is very important.
And we're not talking about minimum wage jobs. I'm talking about the opportunity of starting at a decent job, working your way into management or whatever the thing you want to do.
Obviously, I think one big opportunity too. Canocte Harbor Resort.
I was going to talk about that.
God, you're reading my
I look at
mind.
that as a dream of something that needs to get done by.
It does.
I think it needs to be done by a local group.
Yep.
Somebody who cares about the county.
I agree.
And somebody who really is invested. That's 600 jobs right there.
Right.
Which, as you speak, you could go from a security guard that's working in the summer all the way to food and beverage, up to hotel management, hospitality.
Absolutely.
I think it's a diamond in the rough, which coincides with the health of the lake and the opportunities that we have.
Right.
There are probably a lot of other developments that are still out there that people have talked about. But that one right off the bat is, to me, it's a no-brainer. How we get it done, I don't know. And whether I'm elected as District 1 Supervisor or I stay as the chairman, those are something that we are always thinking about for economic development.
With that particular establishment, the feasibility study, the economic analysis is really upside down in what I've looked at. Do you think that, let's go back into private enterprise.
Yes.
When a major corporation needs to raise funds, they have multiple ways of doing that.
Absolutely.
One of them is offering corporate bonds, be it discounted or otherwise.
Yes.
Do you think it's possible that the county or some private company could come in, issue a bond, have it backed by the security of the individual company or rancheria, and get the necessary funds to purchase the facilities, and then also have enough money to improve it? Because right now there's a lot of
Needs a
improvement
lot
needs to be
of
done.
improvement, yeah.
I think there's many different opportunities how that could get going, whether it's a county project or an individual investor, like you said, or something, or an organization here in the county. But those are opportunities that I think will be happening over here in the next 24 months. I think something
Nice.
should happen.
Good.
I am positive, and it's something, as a tribal organization, you're always looking at economic development opportunities. And I think I've been across the country. There is no other venue on the West
No.
Coast
No.
like Canoctoy Harbor Resort.
And a lot of
I
people
don't want to
miss
sell
it.
it too much because I want some.
Well, no,
but hey, for the county,
So are
it's
you-
a savior.
Saying that the tribe might be
No.
down the road interested in.
What I say is we look at everything.
Yeah.
You are a politician.
I will say, we were approached in the beginning. We thought for sure it would be open by now. It really, it's disheartening that it isn't.
Oh, yeah.
And we absolutely look at every opportunity, and that is one of the opportunities
Okay.
that is
Fair
on
enough.
our drawing board, along
Awesome.
with economic
I,
development.
I would think that, obviously, you have the well, I'm making an assumption here because I don't know.
That's one assumption, and I want to clear that up. Just like every other small individual has a great idea, we have a great idea that is running. We do not. We are getting ready to be the availability of economic development cash and those types of things. We obviously had to take out about a $45 million loan to do what we did down there. It did everything we knew it would do. We needed a guarantor from across the country, which was Mohican Sun. Cannot say enough about that tribe stepping in and helping us.
Wonderful.
And allowing us to get to where we are now. And in the next 5 to 7 years, Middletown Rancheria will be taking those next leaps and bounds
Excellent.
as an economically strong tribe, and we're very proud to be saying that. It's a lot of work of our membership, our tribal members, and the community, and all the workers that we have had come through our doors and dedicate their lives to the Middletown Rancheria. And once again, I just want to thank all of our employees for the hard work that they do every day.
Awesome.
What you're impressing me, and I'm very hard to
Yes,
impress
he
because
is.
I'm a real devil's advocate.
He's a hard ass.
You come out very sincere about not just you doing a good job, but the support staff you have in taking care of your specific responsibilities. And it sounds like that you could take that attitude and take it to the board and actually hopefully continue on with that. Because I don't have and I'll be honest with you, if you listen to our shows at all, I don't have a very good attitude towards our board right now. I think they're lame duck. I think they don't follow through on the best interest of the county. It's more to their segment, their loyalty base, and not looking at the improvement of the county itself.
Okay?
I think you
will
can.
keep that in mind.
Don't piss
Make
him
sure
off.
I'm not on that side.
No, but I'm being serious on that.
Absolutely. I hear you wholeheartedly, and I've heard that from more than yourself.
I bet.
Believe me. I'm very impressed with the community, what they want and what they're focused on, our constituents. And, some are already talking to me like, I'm already the supervisor. I'm like, I'm not, I
Don't get the cart before the horse.
questions. And I will do that. I do not mind asking any question in any venue or making a comment that I feel needs to be made. I'm a hard person to quiet down when I'm passionate about something.
Great.
But as far as being a team builder, that's, I learned a lot of my education and the way I do things from the football field.
I was going to say, you
lead by
got to be a
example,
team player.
But you're only as strong as your weakest link. And the
right.
one thing that I know is encouraging the people that you have around you to do their job, not worry about being given credit for anything and giving them credit. because they do a great job. I think those are the most important things of building a strong.
I'm going to ask this for a reason,
Go
not
ahead.
because I'm a sports nut. What position did you play?
I was a defensive tackle.
Okay, I was going to say you were a tackle.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so
I always say, 'cause I'm a little bit bigger now, obviously, than I was when I was
Right.
playing. I didn't keep up with the running, which I should have. But the eating habits are there.
yeah, but my point is, as a tackle, and most people don't understand that, even if they're football fans, is that the coordination and the communication that the line has to have for each individual play is extremely important. Agreed?
Oh, absolutely.
So you take that communication skill and that team effort, because you said, if you're a nose center, or in this case, a linebacker's not doing his job, then it's going to impact the whole team. So from football, you can take those same skills and bring them forward into the political scene and be able to ensure proper communication, proper teamwork, because it's both from what your current position is and from your background.
Absolutely. And like I said, from a football standpoint, the linebacker gets all the glory, the corners and those types of things.
Right.
As long as you're keeping those big guys off of the linebackers, they can do their job. They get themselves in the paper. They get the accolades. But when you're in the locker room with your team,
They know.
everybody knows, hey, good job. You
You're
got
in the
those boys off me. I got my tackles this week.
Yep.
So it always is about the team concept. You don't need credit to be a good leader,
And that's
as far
what
as I'm concerned.
Thank you, and that's where I was kind of going down the road with that in a very loose way, is that you don't need to get the credit. A lot of people who are in politics want to be the main person. They want to have their name in the headlights. They want to be on center stage. That's not necessarily a good politician.
The credit goes to those around you.
Thank you.
You're only as strong as the team that you have built.
Right, so if elected, your ego, if you have one, is going to be put off to the side. And you're going to work as a team to help improve your environment here.
And it's my job to take the beating and to make sure that things keep moving forward.
And you will be open to your district people to communicate. Because one of our problems right now, our district person won't talk to us.
Availability.
Yeah, we
That
get to
is
invite him
something,
on our show, and I
you
don't
know,
think he's going to come.
I've been trained in the tribal community, and I think this is something unique, and I know we're running short.
No,
I'll
I
do
just-
real quick.
You're good.
The one thing that I would like to bring is availability. Right now, our constituents here in District 1, they got to go to Lakeport 99% of the time if they want to hear something. They can get personal meetings and those types of things. But my thoughts along the lines, in which I know that work good in tribal country, is we meet every 30 days. So one of the thoughts that I had in becoming District 1 supervisor, once or twice a year, if it's needed quarterly, that I would be available. That I would set up a meeting, whether it's here in Lower Lake or down in Middletown at the senior center or somewhere, that I'd pick the place. Say, hey, you know what? For 2 hours, come on in. Let's just talk.
Shoot the
Let's
breeze.
see where things are going. Let's get some issues that you don't have to come to the board of supervisors. Let's talk about our district. Let's talk about what needs to be, and always being available as often as possible.
Exactly.
And it is, all the time and stuff. I do love coaching football too. I've been doing that for so many years.
And you're doing that at Middletown.
Yeah, I do that at Middletown. With
Awesome.
my head coach, Bill Fultmer, who's been there for, I think,
Yeah.
30 years now. I get to coach with him, the guy who coached me.
Wow.
Jim Garrett and Tom Knowles and all those guys. Obviously, we've all grown up there, but it's just unique every day to go out. My son also starts playing football this season. He'll be a freshman, so my cousin Ray is the defensive coordinator on the JVs. So it's really a family thing, and like I said, I get to coach with Fultmer, the guy who coached
Awesome.
me.
One last question, and I got to
That
take a
is
quick
awesome.
break. Are you going to maintain your current position?
That
Yeah.
will be something. To take office in 17, there's another election as tribal chairman in 18. The way I work it out is having a strong tribal council, vice chairwoman Sally Peterson, and the rest of my council, Pam Reyes, Paula, and Carlos. Right now, they will pick up the slack for me. When it comes in 2018, if I'm elected in 17 to 18, there's another election coming up for the tribe. If I need to take a different position on council, that's what I will do. But at this point, I plan on doing both jobs.
Okay, so you can
Excellent.
stay on
Absolutely,
council.
yes.
Okay, good.
I would not have, I'll be very honest. I made sure to check with my tribal membership before I threw my hat in the ring, because ultimately, my family in the South County is always there, but I wanted to make sure that my tribal membership had my back, and they
Absolutely.
do. It was
Good.
awesome.
Absolutely.
You can ask one. I have to
Okay,
take a
so
quick.
I just want to go over your contact information. People want to get a hold of you. They can email you at Simon4 District 1, Simon4 District 1 @gmail.com.
Yes.
And if people want to call you, they can call on the 272 number?
Yes.
Okay, that's 272-3368. And I'm sure if anybody stops in the casino, they can track you down there too.
Yeah, right on the Rancheria is our offices over there. Just if you go right through the gates are open between 7:30 and 5:30 Monday through Friday. Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, Moke, this has been really, really enlightening. I'm very pleased to meet you, and I'm glad to see that you are a person who does care about his community, care about the people who live here. It's not an exclusive thing with you. It's an inclusive thing from what I'm picking up.
Absolutely.
That you are about all of us, and that's what makes us feel good about you running for supervisor, and we wish you all the best on that.
Can I make one last comment?
Absolutely.
You know, and I am running for the position of District 1 Supervisor.
Right.
I'm not running against Forrest. I'm not running against Monica
No.
or Jim. I'm running for a position.
Right.
And I will say, whether elected or not, I will work with anybody who's elected as District 1 Supervisor to improve this community. I'm hoping to be the one that is elected. But if that isn't the case, I'm here for this county and I'm here for this community one way or the other. And I just want to make that clear that I'm running for this position, not against these individuals.
Perfect. Okay, so it's not personal to you.
Not
It's all
personal
about
to me,
getting the
absolutely
job
not.
done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, perfect. Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate you very much.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go out with a little bit of music from Emily Gimbel, one of my favorite tunes. It's called Be Thankful for What You've Got. You guys have a great day, and we'll be back again next week. I'm Terry Larson.
And I'm Pete the Tax Guy.
And we thank all of our guests today, and we hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll see you next week, same time, same channel. Peace out.
It's all the same. Well, we see it again, yeah. In this cracked up Babylon system, we live there, yeah, no. It's all the same. Well, we see it again, yeah. In this cracked up Babylon system, we live there, yeah, no. To see a change, we cannot just stand there and wait, no, no, no. Get up, stand up, prepare to fight the pain. Yeah, no, no. When it comes raining down like a ball of flame, yeah, and only Jah love can protect you there. Listen to this now. Take a look around and tell me, what do you see? What are people work so hard but still they live in poverty? And the system don't give a damn about the hard working man. Never get about us when they get the chance. So hold your fist high if you're down to make a change. Educate your mind to make that system rearrange. Every single day, but the same old thing. But we fight so we can see a change. It's all the same. Well, we see it again, yeah. In this cracked up Babylon system, we live there, yeah, no. It's all the same. hard, but still they live in poverty. And the system don't give a damn about the hard working man. They forget the fathers when they get that chance. So hold your fist high if you're down to make a change. Educate your mind to make that system rearrange. Every single day by the same old